As we embark on this journey of intellectual exchange, let us be reminded of the words of Albert Einstein, who once said, "The only source of knowledge is experience." Today, as we gather here to present and discuss our research papers, let us embrace the wealth of each participant that they bring on this platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, faculty members and dear participants, it is with great pleasure that we extend our warmest welcome to each one of you to the Maims International Conference 24. This conference serves as a beacon of academic excellence and innovation, providing a platform for budding scholars and seasoned researchers alike to exchange ideas, insights and perspectives. With this, I, Ananya,
and I, Nikita, welcome you all. As we invoke the blessings of Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, let us embrace the spirit of learning and enlightenment. May her divine presence guide us through this event, filling our hearts with intellect and knowledge. With this, we request all the dignitaries to kindly come up on the stage for the lamp lighting ceremony and Saraswati Vandana.
now we would like to hand over to Ms. Kamna.
सृष्टि स्थिति विनाशनाम शक्ति भूते सनातनी गुणाश्रय गुणमय नारायणी नमस्तुते। तुम सृष्टि पालन और संसार की शक्ति भूता सनातनी देवी, गुणों का आधार तथा सर्व गुणमयी हे नारायणी, तुम्हें है नमस्कार।
है प्रथम रखे यह ध्यान अग्रणी
आप सभी विद्यार्थियों से निवेदन है, सभी खड़े हो जाएं। प्लीज स्टैंड एट योर प्लेसेस। You may take your seats. Beginning with our Kulgate with an emphasis on nations first, it's a privilege itself to honor this beautiful audience who has gathered here for the Maims International Conference MIC-24, revisiting business, education and communication with an emphasis on sustainable development. With an aim of gathering insightful thoughts from our conference, I'm delighted to begin with the felicitation ceremony. We have our chief guest with us, Professor Dr. Dhananjay Joshi, Founding Vice Chancellor, Delhi Teachers University. I request Shri S.P. Agarwalji, Executive Chairman, Maims, and Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra, Director, Maims, to come forward to welcome sir. I request Shri S.P. Agarwalji to present a sapling to Professor Dr. Dhananjay Joshi and a shawl. Welcome, sir. I request, sir, to present a shawl to Professor Dhananjay. A huge round of applause. I request Rajni ma'am to present a memento and a gift to sir. A huge round of applause for sir. Students, we welcome you, sir. These applause should not stop. Thank you, sir. Now I welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Bhupesh Chaudhary, IAS, Director, Higher Education, Government of NCT, Delhi. I request Professor Neelam Sharma, Director, MATE, and Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra, Director, Maims, to welcome sir. And Professor S.S. Deswal to welcome sir with a shawl and sapling. I request Deswal sir to present a shawl to Mr. Bhupesh Chaudhary. I request Rajni ma'am and Dr. Manoj Verma to present a memento and a gift hamper to sir. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. We have amongst us our special guest, Dr. Vijay Garg, Chairman, SEAC Delhi, Department of Environment, NCT Delhi. I request Sri Rajneesh Gupta ji and Professor Dr. S.K. Garg to welcome sir with a shawl, sapling, memento and a gift hamper. Dr. Vijay Garg, Chairman, SEAC Delhi, Department of Environment, NCT Delhi. A huge round of applause. Thank you, sir, for gracing this occasion. Dr. Vijay Garg, Chairman, SCAC Delhi, Department of Environment, NCT Delhi. We have amongst us Mr. Ibai Rigbai, Architect and Urban Planner, RWT at Aachen University, Germany. Welcome, sir. I request Professor Dr. Neelam Sharma, Director, MATE. A huge round of applause. These applauses should not stop. We have amongst us Dr. Jwala Prasad, Director, Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Smriti, Delhi. I request Sri Rajneesh Gupta ji and Dr. Manoj Verma, Head Department of Business Administration, to welcome sir with a sapling, memento and gift. Dr. Jwala Prasad, Director, Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Smriti, Delhi. A huge round of applause. Welcome, sir. Dr. Jwala Prasad, Director, Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Smriti, Delhi. Next, we have with us Mr. Shishir Sinha, Associate Editor, The Hindu Business Line, Delhi. Next, we have Mr. Abhishek Gupta, General Manager and Head, International Appliances and Strategy, EESI, Ministry of Power and Government of India. Sir is on the way. He's about to reach. We have amongst us Architect Rajendra Kumar, Director, School of Architecture and Design, LPU. I request Ms. Sarita Garg, IQAC Coordinator, and Dr. Shilpi Agarwal to welcome sir, and Tripathi sir to welcome sir with a sapling, memento and a gift. Thank you, sir. I request Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra to welcome Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, IAS Executive Chairman, MATE. I request Rajni ma'am to welcome sir with a sapling. Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, IAS Executive Chairman, MATE. I request Professor Dr. Sachin Gupta, Dean Research and Innovation, MATE, to welcome Shri Rajneesh Gupta ji, Secretary, MATE, with a sapling. Shri Rajneesh Gupta ji, Secretary, MATE. I request Dr. Manoj Verma to welcome Shri S.K. Garg ji, Director General. Professor Dr. S.K. Garg. A huge round of applause. I extend a heartfelt thanks to the esteemed audience, presenters, august gathering, respected colleagues and dear students who have gathered here from diverse places for MIC-24. I hope these 2 days will be the most productive days of interesting and stimulating discussions. Vidya dadati vinayam vinayadhyati patritam patratatvadanam namaproti dhanardhamam tat sukham. From education comes modesty, from modesty comes eligibility, and from eligibility comes wealth, from wealth comes religion, and from religion comes happiness. With this note, I welcome Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra, Director Maims, for the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
A very good morning to the Chief Guest of the day, Professor Dr. Dhananjay Joshi, Vice Chancellor, Delhi Teachers University, Mr. Bhupesh Chaudhary, IAS, Director Higher Education and Guest of Honor, Ms. Radhika Jha, she will be joining us online from St. John University, Mr. Abhay Rigby from Germany, Mr. Vijay Garg, Chairman SEAC Delhi, Jwala Prasad ji, Director Gandhian Samriti, Mr. Shishi Sinha, and although our chairman is not with us, but then he has sent the message to us, Dr. Nandkishore Garg ji, Founder Chairman, MATES, Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, Executive Chairman, MATES, Shri Rajneesh Gupta ji, Secretary, MATES, Professor Dr. S.K. Garg, Director Journal, Professor Dr. Neelam Sharma, Director, MATE, Professor Dr. S.S. Deswal, Professor Sachin Datta ji, Tripathi ji, Chief Finance Officer, HOD of various departments, faculty members, and my dear students. So I will begin with this, that what an intellectual, vibrant morning. Dear all, this year, MATES is celebrating 25 years of its existence. At this juncture, when we have grown up as a mature institution, our action, our activities, and academic excellence has also touched a new height. We have been accredited NAC by NAC A++. The theme of the conference, Revisiting Business, Education and Communication with an emphasis on sustainable development, is a very well thought of topic taken by the organizer. As under new education policy too, we are giving emphasis on the holistic education and development, and for this, it has become very, very important to make a delicate balance between development and environment. As in the absence of one, the other cannot sustain. As according to Mrs. Indira Gandhi in a conference, poverty is the greatest polluter. Hence, development is must. But simultaneously, the health of Mother Earth cannot be compromised. Moreover, in Indian culture, we always worshipped nature, sun, rivers, trees, because they are the givers. Pibanti nadha swamev nabhay, swayam na khadanti fulani vriksha, nadanti sasyam khalu varivaha, propakaraya satta vibhratya. It means that neither river drink their own water, nor tree eats their own fruits. And here I am pleased to inform you that we as an institution always try our level best to give the cultural values to our students, and on the regular basis we are organizing these kind of activities. I am also pleased to inform that in this conference, 125 researchers are participating in this conference because their paper has been selected. We received more than 350 papers, but 125 papers has been selected for this conference. Total 8 tracks on various sub-themes has been identified, and for each track, we are giving Best Paper Award of Rs 3,100. I'm wholeheartedly thanks ICSSR for sponsoring this event. I also thank ONGC and Gandhi and Samriti because they are inaugurating their center today in this conference only. They are also inaugurating, they are starting the center with us, and we are also starting value-added course on non-violent activities, non-violent language. I also thank St. John University, USA to be our academic partner. We have collaborated with 5 journals which are ABDC and Scopus indexed. Additionally, after this conference, we are publishing 2 books with ISBN number. I wish all the best to the participant and hope that with this conference, we will learn a lot. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the welcome address. Now, I would like to introduce our esteemed chief guest of MIC-24, the Honorable Founding Vice Chancellor of Delhi Teachers University, Professor Dhananjay Joshi. Professor Dhananjay Joshi is the Founding Vice Chancellor of Delhi Teachers University, established in January 2022 by Government of NCT of Delhi. In a career span over 2 decades, Professor Joshi has donned many hats: a teacher, a scholar, poet, and an author. Formerly, Sir was Dean and the Professor of Education at GGS IPU University, New Delhi, wherein Sir has also amongst the founding faculty members of the School of Education. Sir has been facilitated by many literary and cultural organizations. This includes the prestigious S. Radhakrishnan Memorial Award 2008 in the field of education and the Best Speaker Award at the 26th Youth Parliament competition organized by the Government of India in 1991. Sir has also received the Bharat Ratna APJ Abdul Kalam National Youth Icon Award in 2018, the Dwarka Srijan Shri Award in 2018, the Abhimanch Sahitya Puraskar and the Sanskrit and Hindi Academy Award by Delhi government and many others. I am delighted to invite Sir for his address. Professor Dhananjay Joshi, a huge round of applause, everyone. The sequence of event has been changed. Sir has to leave for an urgent meeting. So Sir is addressing the audience. Yes, everyone, please maintain silence. Over to you, Sir.
Namaskar. Very good morning to one and all present on this esteemed day. Very Honorable Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, who is acting as the chairman of Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies. Very own Shri Nand Kishore Garg ji in absentia, Rajneesh Gupta ji, who is secretary, our very own Bhupesh Chaudhary ji, Director Higher Education, is a very dynamic director higher education under whose leadership Delhi landscape of education is developing. Professor S.K. Garg ji, our former principal of Deen Dayal Upadhyay College, Delhi University, and advisor here. Shri Vijay Garg ji, श्री ज्वाला प्रसाद जी जो कि गांधी स्मृति से हैं और हमारे अनुज हैं, Rigby from Germany. First of all, I take the opportunity to congratulate the institution, Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies. It's completing 25 years, the glorious 25 years. So this is a matter of pride that the institution which has been in Delhi's landscape, one of the best institute in IP University, because I've been part of the IP University, so that I've seen the first choice of the student is always MATE, Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Technology, or Maims, Maharaja Institute of Management Studies. So, my dear students, you are very fortunate. You are the part of a legacy. You are a part of an institute which has a remarkable history, not only in India, but its saplings are growing out. I have learned that the institute is growing to overseas also. So it's a very remarkable journey, and the philosophy behind this college or institution, you must know that the people, those have been the founders, they all are philanthropic, and the organization or the trust which is working is also a volunteering trust and doing so well, not only field of education but medicine and journalism. My dear friend Mr. Pathak is also here. He's a very nice correspondent earlier also, and I believe that the institution, I've heard that somewhere, I've read, because I'm a man of literature, so I've read a very beautiful couplet of Ghalib. He said कि मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने बे मंजिल मगर, मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने बे मंजिल मगर, और लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. So the institution, which is, it's a sheer hardship of your the founders, and really I give my salute to them because of their dedication, perseverance, their honesty, their transparency. Delhi has got such a nice college, and which you are the part, and somehow I was also the part of this college since inception. When the first JAG, Joint Assessment Committee, came, I was the convener. When the Professor K.K. Agarwal was the Vice Chancellor, he sent me in this college, and I was the part of the team, the logistic team. We have given the affiliation to this college with first intake, and my memories are very sharp that days that I've been associated with them. And surely I am again reminding one thing, that this college made a long kind of a legacy, a long kind of history in the history of education in Delhi, and now it's promising to all over India and the world. Now I'll come to the another part, that India is celebrating the 75th independence just now. We are still celebrating the Amrit Kal, and in this Amrit Kal, the Azadi, the Amrit Kal, which we have seen that where our government has given, the central government has given the target, especially the Viksit Bharat at 2047, and we should also strive for Viksit Bharat, because in our generation, when we were the student, we have seen that the people, my teachers used to tell, we are living in a developing nation. Now I used to tell my own children that we are a developing nation, but how long India will be a developing nation? हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन, but वो दिन कौन सा होगा, इस जनरेशन को उसका उत्तर खोजना होगा, क्योंकि ये जनरेशन जो हमारे सामने बैठी है, भारत की वो जनरेशन है जिसने विश्व में अपने कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए हैं. द सुंदर पिचाई, द पराग अग्रवाल, द इंदिरा न्यूई, you can count million of Indians, those are abroad, the Ambati brothers, the first scientists, and the legacy is so on. So in this millennium time, in this Amrit Kal, we are very fortunate that we are discussing on revisiting business, education, communication, with the core emphasis on sustainable development. I believe that all the areas with the organizers, they have chosen the revisiting. Why we have to revisit? Why we should see the back? Revisit means ke piche dekhna. We have to again revisit, because India was culturally very nice. India was always, have you seen the Vedic tradition? You see the Anu Bhadra Krattu Yantu Vishwatha. That is the first richa of Rig Veda. That is the first richa. We said we should always we should open our arms for the sake of knowledge. This country which talks about knowledge, this country which is a country of wisdom. But if you see that, when you see about revisit, you must read Sarpalli Radhakrishnan, who was the second president of India, and he's written a very good book, in very qualitative book on Indian philosophy. He said that India is a country which talks about wisdom. जो देश बुद्धि की बात करता था, जब विजडम ओरिएंटेड डायलॉग हुआ करते थे, एंड वहां से हम डिग्री ओरिएंटेड एजुकेशन पर आ गए. हम सिर्फ डिग्री और सिर्फ डिग्री दे रहे हैं, और नौकरियां देना, ये केवल नौकरियां देना ही यूनिवर्सिटीज और एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस का काम नहीं होना चाहिए. Because we have to give them some kind of, we have to also give it some thinking, the critical thinking, the reflection. We should not only produce the job gainers, but we should also provide the job providers, which is the mantra of government also. And the government government is working so hard about entrepreneurial education, business mind blasters, and so many educational schemes. And our government is also talking about the Viksit Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And for that Radhakrishnan ji, that book is very relevant, which talks about we have to see our glorious past, which talks about wisdom. Then from wisdom to we came just knowledge. And now teachers are not from knowledge, they came to information. So this is a downfall, and we have to also trace from the history that where Vidyotama, Gargi, Ahilya, Chanakya, we have a legacy of people. Those have traveled so long. Hinsang, Faiyan came in this country. They have given our travel logs. They have shown us our history. Even that they born before the Aristotle and Plato. That country which talks about, that country is only based on information education, and information to became only data collection. That is a tragedy. The wisdom-oriented education, which should be our first mantra, which should be our first objective. We came to knowledge, and knowledge to just information, and just information to kaun banega crorepati, that data information. The data is important, but we should not focus only on data, because otherwise we'll be just crammers. We will be just crammers, and that cramming is going on. And my dear friends, that we have to work something on originality. We have to work on something, not only concept delivery, but origin of the concept. What is the idea of a Bharat? The idea of Bharat, that जब जीरो दिया मेरे भारत ने, दुनिया को तब गिनती आई. देता ना दशमलव भारत तो चांद पे जाना मुश्किल था. We have invented decimal, we have invented zero, and we have given the best to the world. But unfortunately, one of my friend, he has given a tweet in X. He said that the best of Americans working for America, the best of Japanese working for China, Japan, best of Chinese working for China, the best of Koreans working for Korea, but the best of Indians working for others. This is the great time. This is the great tragedy, that every youngsters are nowadays planning to settle down on Adelaide or in New York and Australia and Canada. This is not a very good sign. कि अगर ये सब लोग भारत से बाहर जाने की सोचेंगे, तो फिर भगत सिंह कहाँ पर रहते? अगर वो भी डिसाइड कर लेते तो भारत आजाद नहीं होता. अगर एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम भी डिसाइड कर लेते तो भारत को मिसाइल मैन नहीं मिलता. लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली द ब्रेन इज ब्रेनिंग. दैट इज द वेरी वेरी क्रक्स ऑफ न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, कि हमें ब्रेन ड्रेन टू ब्रेन गेन करना पड़ेगा. वी हैव टू थिंक फॉर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आवर ओन कंट्री. सबसे पहले हमें अपने देश के बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि देश से ऊपर कुछ नहीं है. तो मुझे लगता है कि आई विल नॉट गिव यू मोर sermons. I am very happy. I am very candidly, I am sure that this conference will give you new impetus. It will broaden your views on various aspects, because I have seen that various scholars are coming in 2 days for discussing about sustainable development, because of so many problems of climate or ozone layer depleting, and various other kinds of problems are coming. Our economical situation and various other things has to be discussed under sustainable development. I am sure that this conference will give us a new pathway in terms of business, in terms of education, in terms of communication. All are very important area. I am sure that you people will think about it. I'll rest my views with this note. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, indeed, India will culturally rise, and our knowledge and wisdom-oriented knowledge should be our incentive. Thank you, sir, for encouraging message to students to work for our own country only. Thank you very much, sir. It is my privilege to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Bhupesh Chaudhary, IAS Batch 2014, presently Director, Higher Education, Government of NCT, Delhi. Sir is also alumni of GGS IPU. It is our immense pleasure to have sir amongst us. Thank you, sir, for coming, and I invite you for your address on the dais. Mr. Bhupesh Chaudhary, a huge round of applause.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, respected chief guests of the event, Dr. Shri Dhananjay Joshi ji, other members who are present on the dais, faculty members, deans, teachers, and my dear students. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude and, gratitude for inviting me, for having me over for this event. As I would also like to congratulate that Maims has completed 25 years of existence. So it is not a small task. It is not something which happens every day. So as Mr. Joshi was also speaking about, I think you are all very fortunate to be a part of the legacy. As we all complete 25 years, we have a lot of span to look back to and learn from our experiences and to see how we can leap forward. How can we leapfrog into the future? As everybody today, we are talking about Viksit Bharat and how India wants to be a developed country by 2047, a dream that our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has, he has left a spark, ignited that spark in all of us, that we cannot be perpetually developing nation. So, but for this, as you understand, everything, a lot depends on the youth that we have. So we have the youth that is present in front of us. Some of them have migrated into the Yog Nidra avastha. Some of them have, just transcended. But I would request, to think about the larger perspective about why we are all talking about India being a developed nation. India was a home to the great universities. I'm sure you must have heard about Nalanda University, Takshila University. So Nalanda University, as you know, was set up in 5th century AD. 5th century AD was when still the Europeans were living in jungles. And it was devastated. It was devastated in 11th century. That was the time by the invaders, of course. 11th century it was devastated by the invaders, and that was the time when the first university was set up in Europe. So India was already at that level. India was already a Vishwaguru. And Nalanda University, I'm told, when you read the history text, it had about 10,000 students from all the other countries, about 2,000 teachers. And they were talking about wisdom. It was not about degrees or formal education and things like that. They were already talking about what we have started to realize, and we are now starting to talk about new education policy. So India had already seen that. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, as you all know, during the colonial periods, we lost $45 trillion of wealth to our invaders. But I feel, it is time to learn from the history. It is time to understand the time has come. India enjoys a big demographic dividend. India has the potential to supply the workforce to every country. And demographic dividend, if we talk about, you already know that we have half of our population is less than 35 years of age. Half of our population is going to be a working age population. India is going to enjoy the demographic dividend till 2056 at least. And the demographic dividend is going to peak in 2041. So, demographic dividend, it is important then that it remains a dividend. It should not become a liability. When I was in school, I still remember उसमें हमेशा कई बार ऐसे आता था population abhishap a bane or boon. So, but today we realize, that there's no question about it, and we have to learn from those experiences, ensure that our workforce is skilled technically, and they have a moral aptitude. The moral compass should be at the right place. Education, as the chief guest also was talking, the role of the education and the universities is not to roll out the formal education, for formal degrees and things like that. The education institution also has a big role in setting up the moral compass of a person into the right direction. So, the most important thing is to become a better human. You can be a great engineer, great salesman, great investment banker, But I think it is very important to become a great human. When you strive to become a great human, along your journey, along the way, you will automatically develop qualities which are going to, help not only you, it will help your community, your parents will be proud of you, your community, your state, your nation will be proud of you. So I think that is what we all should be striving at. And again, talking about leapfrogging. Now we have started to think about how will we leapfrog in these 25 years. So 25 years, 75 years we have completed independence. Next 25 years can take us into a developed domain. How will we do it? Germany has done it. After World War II, it is called the Miracle on the Rhine. Korea has done it after the Korea War. It's called the Miracle on the Han River. So it's impossible to think why we can't do it. Having, India as a home, India has such a rich history, legacy, and so much of ancient wisdom, and now the technical workforce, people like you, who are there, who are ready to work and toil for the country. So I don't see why it is not going to happen. The only thing which is required is that all of us should have belief in ourselves, and take pride in whatever we have, and take pride always. We have to see how can we contribute to the growth of the nation. All of us coming out of a university, coming out of a college like this, I don't think anybody of you should be worried about getting a job. Job should not be a problem. But the thing which you should be always constantly thinking about, how are you going to contribute into the national growth? How are you going to dovetail your personal, professional growth with the national growth? How are you going to dovetail it? So that is the question which all of us should be asking. We have seen how Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan has put India into a different orbit altogether. United States of America, they were amazed how can we develop Chandrayaan, which is so cheap, which is cheaper than their Avatar movie. And we can actually show it to the world, that it is not only somebody with deep pockets who can do it. It is how you can innovate, cost management, again drawing from the principles of management, since we have management students also here. So how can you optimize your cost? How can you optimize your supply chains? How can you, use minimum resources to achieve your goals? India has shown it. Now, the how part. Now, what we want to become, we want to be developed by 2047. That we have, all of us know about it. But how will we achieve it? Demographic dividend, we have all talked about, we have demographic dividend, but how can we exploit it? Number one, I think it is the skilling. So there has to be a focus on the skilling. There is no second thought about it. The ancient Indian society was a skilled society. Unfortunately, now, as there's so much emphasis on the skilling, somehow, the traditional methods, the traditional respect on working with hands is been lost. Somewhere, I deal with the ITIs also, and I interact with the students. Somehow I feel that the dignity of working with hands, the dignity of labor is losing out in our Indian society. So I think that is where we all should be working. We have to learn to produce something with our hands, and to bring back the pride, and I don't know how the stigma got attached with working with the hands, but skilling is the way to go. Until and unless we are able to skill so many of the youth, I think it has a big chance that they can become a liability for the nation. Second is research and development. Colleges, institutions, educational institutions, universities, all of us have to find out ways. India has failed to some extent into the formal research and development, how it has term to be called after the independence in the New World era. Now, how the research and development has unfolded, India unfortunately could not become a part of it. So there has to be a very, very orchestrated and thought out a focus on research and development within the institutions, linking the academia with the industry, and solve the problems which are socially relevant and commercially viable. So that is why we have to develop this R&D focus. Third, I feel that innovation and entrepreneurship. Innovation and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not a new word. It was always a part of the Indian society. We have seen that how India was, before the invaders came, India was all called the Sone ki Chidiya, and it was a land of traders. It was in the Silk Route. So the people were doing so much innovation in the kind of products, things like that. So multidisciplinary curriculum of NEP that we have now started to talk about, I feel that this is going to stimulate innovation and entrepreneurship. The other day I was reading the Isaac Walterson, the biography, what he wrote about Steve Jobs, and the Steve Jobs also said that how he focused on developing something beautiful. His focus was not only developing a very mean and very technically sound machine. He wanted to make a machine which looks also beautiful. He wanted to develop fonts which look beautiful. So he said that how I could do it is that because he attended one subject, calligraphy subject, in his college before he dropped out, and that gave him an inspiration into the aesthetics, how to marry the aesthetics and the technology, and that's how the Mac was born. That's what he said in one of the interviews, and that is totally agreeing to what he said, that we have to focus on interdisciplinary curriculum, curriculum and subjects. The more we have to expose the young minds to various disciplines, so that a humanities guy is able to appreciate technology. A technology guy has to appreciate business management. Until and unless we all learn to do it, there cannot be a holistic development. There cannot be a wealth creation. Wealth creation is important. Wealth creation is so important right now. I feel that is the only way. Wealth is like an oil, that whatever building blocks, whatever components that we are talking about, Viksit Bharat, innovation, this, but how it will how will it run? I think it is the wealth creation. So all of us must be focusing on how do we create wealth for the country, for ourselves, for your parents, community, states. How can you contribute India going to the next level? So, multidisciplinary curriculum, we have already spoken. We have already spoken how this can help ignite a spirit of nation building. Until and unless we are exposed to different cultures, and India is already blessed with so much diversity. I don't think I've traveled to many nations in Europe. I've traveled to Australia, but I have not seen a nation as diverse as ours. So we are blessed to be born in a country which offers you so much diversity, which offers you so much history and so much legacy to learn from. So I think this is the best time to be in the country. Break new grounds and the civilizational values. Civilizational values, what do we understand from civilizational values? Because India is an old civilization. India is not like Australia. India is not like America. India has a lot of legacy. It has civilization. It was which can be traced to 2500 BC. So we have to learn from our civilization, ancient values, and make space for ourselves into the future. So closing on those words, I think thank you all of you for having me here, and thank you all the board of directors who invited me here. It was a pleasure to be here. Completely honored. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful words of wisdom. It's time to embrace India's knowledge and be a great human being and be kindful for our community. So our focus on innovation and research is very important. Students should focus on how we can create wealth to our country. Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence. Thank you very much. It is my immense pleasure to invite Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, IAS Executive Chairman Maims, for his address. Shri S.P. Agarwal ji is a retired IAS officer during his career spanning over 35 years in IAS. Sir has served with distinction in almost all positions in Government of Delhi, its associated bodies, GOI, and also headed remote union territories outside Delhi. After his retirement and government service in 2005, Sir had exposure at senior-most managerial level in leading companies in corporate sector. Thereafter, Sir has been associated with various educational institutions with the objective of improving the academic standards and making education more purposeful. Welcome, sir. Over to you. Shri S.P. Agarwal ji.
Our founder chairman and chief advisor, Dr. Nandkishore Garg ji in absentia, Shri Vineet Rohiya ji, chairman of MATES in absentia, Shri Rajneesh Gupta, secretary MATES, Shri Anand Gupta, treasurer, Shri Mohan Garg ji, joint general secretary, Professor Rajni Malhotra Dhingra, Director, Maharaj Agar Singh Institute of Management Studies, all distinguished dignitaries on the dais, faculty, students and participants. This International Conference 2024 on revisiting business, education and communication with emphasis on sustainable development, I feel is extremely timely. In fact, this is the demand of the times. Unless we focus on sustainable development, whatever we try to achieve would ultimately be counterproductive and would not lead anywhere. Whatever venture you are involved in, ultimately it becomes a business venture. And in any business venture, there are three kind of stakeholders. One is the owners or shareholders, the other is customers, and third is society at large. The owners or shareholders, they want to improve the top line in their balance sheet and maximize profits. Customers are only interested in getting the best of products at the lowest of prices, while the society is interested that the place where they live, the environment in which they live should be maintained and should not be damaged in any way by business activities. For instance, they are interested that the soil should not be used for dumping industrial waste. They want that the subsoil water or the surface water should not be polluted. They want that the air in which they are breathing should not get polluted. In fact, it is a last factor, namely concern of the society, which is most important as far as sustainable development is concerned. What happens when development is not sustainable? The best example or the worst example of that is Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. You know, the best location in Bhopal on Shamli Hills, 5 acres of land, was available with Union Carbide for this particular factory. Union Carbide at that time was the bluest of the blue chip. Their ever-ready cells and batteries were such a common item that all over India, all over world, those items were being used, and they were a big producer of industrial chemicals and also pesticides and insecticides. Now, this particular plant was supposed to be a state-of-art plant, but because of poor maintenance, because of their concern to flog the plant, there were issues. And in one of the independent audit of the plant, some shortcomings were pointed out. It was mentioned that the plant should be shut down for some time, and after shutting it down, the maintenance should be done. The management thought that if they shut down the plant, then the profits would come down, the production would come down, and they ignored it. Then the employees warned that in one of the tanks there was a leakage and it could blast. Again, that was ignored, and the consequence was leakage of MIC, which led to death of thousands of people in Bhopal, and almost lakhs of people. They would continue to carry the stigma and the medical problems throughout their lives. It was because the concern of the factory was only maximizing profits and not taking care of the society, taking care of the people where the plant was operating. Another interesting case here would be that of Tuticorin. You know, in Tuticorin, the biggest copper smelter of India was functioning, run by Vedanta. And all the industrial waste, the slug and everything was being dumped around the plant. It had been pointed out by on couple of occasions by Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, but nobody listened to it. The material was not only not removed, but further material kept on being piled. Eventually, people rose up in arms. There was a huge demonstration. Police firing was there, which killed 10 people, and then that plant was closed down. Now, it happened because while the plant was good, we needed that kind of a plant to produce copper. We also wanted the environment to be preserved. We did not want the soil around the plant to be polluted with all kinds of industrial waste. Since the company did not listen to it, so now for the past 5 years, the plant is closed. What I'm trying to say is that if your activities are sustainable, you have taken care of your surroundings, of the society, in that case, in long run, your profits would increase further. Your organization, your entity, whatever you are running, would be more resilient, and it will grow faster, it will create more profits in the long term. But if you are short-sighted, in that case, while in the short term, you might be able to make profit, in the long term, you would find that your plant is only closed down, your production would come down, and public opposition would lead to closure of a plant. Now, this not only applies to industrial plants, even in city development, this applies. You all must have heard of the water crisis in Bangalore. You know, when in 1970, I visited Bangalore as a part of Bharat Darshan of our IAS batch, it was a place where there were lakes galore, the gardens were galore, and the lakes were brimming with absolutely crystal clear water. The temperature was such that the place where we were staying, I think there were barely 1 or 2 fans there, but it was not required. Now from there, when I went there again in 1982, I found that not only fans, but even coolers had become necessary. And now you can't live in Bangalore without ACs. And what happened to those lakes with crystal clear water? Because of greed, because of mismanagement of people in the government, all the catchment area of the lakes was given off for real estate development. And all the industrial waste of that area was allowed to be dumped into the rivers. You must have heard last year or year before, the huge froth of those chemical waste had come on the road, and the road had to be closed for a couple of hours. What I'm saying is that if you do not take care of sustenance in development, then the development would not last. In Bangalore, there is no water. You're given half a bucket of water a day. The solution that we are trying to find is that the fifth phase of Kaveri, they say, should be expedited so that water could be available. A better and more sustainable thing would have been to clear the catchment area of the lakes and to clear the lakes and not permit any industrial effluent to be dumped there. Because ultimately, you have to take care of sustenance. Unless you take care of sustenance, there is no way in which development can take place. You know, in our scriptures also, if you look at Vedas, we pray to Prithvi, we pray to Antariksh, we pray to trees, we pray to fire, and we pray to Vayu. So we want all those things to remain pristine, pure, so that people could enjoy these natural gifts to the maximum possible extent. Education becomes extremely relevant because we have to sensitize our youth to the sustainability of whatever activities are undertaken by the government, by the industry, by the society. We have to sensitize them so that when they become entrepreneurs, when they start working, they are able to take care of it. And communication again is extremely important because the communication media now is so huge that the message of sustainability can surely be propagated more effectively so that everybody becomes conscious of it and we are able to take care of the sustenance. Without dilating on the whole thing, I would say that revisiting business, education and communication through the lens of sustainable development is not merely a moral duty but a strategic requirement, and unless we are able to take care of it, there is no way we would be able to become Viksit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. It is our privilege to have Ms. Radhika Jha, Associate Dean of Graduate Studies and Academic Engagement, the Leslie H. and William L. Collins College of Professional Studies, St. John's University, USA, as our esteemed guest. Ma'am will join us online. I request the team to play video of ma'am. Radhika Jha is Associate Dean of Graduate Program and Academic Engagement in Collins College of Professional Studies at St. John's University, New York. Her background is in economics and finance, and she has taught courses at graduate and undergraduate level. She has presented papers at many regional national conferences which are published widely in the field of micro enterprises, microfinance and economic growth. Her current research interests are in learning sciences and online learning, more specifically in computer-supported collaborative learning. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, our esteemed guest, for their gracious presence for this
A very good morning to everyone. My heartiest greetings to Director Dr. Rajni Dhingra, Dr. Bharti Chaudhary, esteemed colleagues of Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, and other distinguished guests from across higher education. I want to thank you, Dr. Dhingra and Dr. Chaudhary, for inviting me to this very important international conference on revisiting business, education, and communication with an emphasis on sustainable development. It is truly an honor to be given this opportunity, and I'm genuinely excited to address such a distinguished audience. It is a great honor and privilege for St. John's University, New York, also to partner with Maims on this very timely and important global conference. The theme and significance of the conference resonate deeply with me, as my background and interests have been in business and education. I believe that events like these serve as catalysts for innovation, collaboration, and progress towards a shared vision of a more sustainable future. in this dynamic and rapidly evolving global landscape, having the focus of business and education on sustainability and development would play a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory of our society. The decisions which we make today, especially in today's world of AI-driven decisions, will have far-reaching consequences for generations to come. As educators and practitioners, it is imperative for us to rethink our approaches, to challenge the status quo, and to embrace sustainable practices that not only ensure our prosperity and social equity, but also promote an efficient use of our resources. The theme of this conference is very timely and very important as it underscores the interconnectedness of these three important pillars: business, education, and communication in driving sustainable development. Business, as the engine of our economy, holds the power to drive change through responsible practices and innovative solutions. Education, as the cornerstone of personal and societal growth, empowers us with the knowledge and skills to unlock our potential and contribute meaningfully to society. And communication, as the catalyst for change, bridges the gap between ideas and action, encouraging collaboration and promoting social inclusion and peace in society. I was browsing through the schedule for the conference, and I see that there are many thought-provoking and exciting sessions and paper presentations on important topics in business transformation, analytics, social demographics, and other relevant topics in business education and communication. And I'm really looking forward to listen and to participate in those exciting sessions. Once again, I want to thank Maharaja Agrasen Institute for inviting me, and I extend my best wishes for success of this exciting endeavor. Thank you.
Architect and urban planner, RWTH, Aachen University, Germany. Sir is currently working as an editor for the newborn digital platform urbannext.net as a coordinator at the Aga Khan Trust for Culture. Sir was based in Geneva, and the most projects he was involved in are for the Historic Cities program, which are located in West Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. His work implicated assisting and training local teams as well as supervising architecture, preservation projects, and newly designed buildings. So responsibilities include international and local staff team managements. So has been a guest lecturer and critic at the Architectural Association, Mitte Mirlan, visiting schools in Algeria, Alexandria, and Izmir at Cornell University, in Itaha at Columbia University, GSAP Studio in Paris, and at the Escola Tecnia Superior de Arquitectura de Barcelona. I invite Mr. Rigby to deliver his address. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Thank you everyone for attending this lecture. Thank you for the committee for inviting me to give this lecture. We are very short on time, so I'll try to rush. I'm currently based in Germany, in Aachen, but I'm originally from Spain, where this fake image is taken for. And I've spent most of my professional life working in different countries such as the US, Switzerland, France, and now in Germany. So I'm really not against moving around the world and being curious. I'm an architect, and I was a little bit surprised at the beginning of being invited in this lecture on business and management because, well, being an architect is not it's not a very good business choice. But anyway, I'll try to do my best because I'm teaching, so the part of the education has something to do with me, and also the concern on sustainability. So, one of the problems we face as educators in the university level is that most programs are designed to train students for the needs of today. And if you look at your curricula, probably you will find things that, I don't know, I don't want to be critical and I don't know everything, but in many universities still many things belong to times that are not today and not the future. So what's the future? We don't know. Nobody has I don't have a glass balloon where I can see what the future will look like, but it seems many experts, 90% of scientists working on the weather expect global warming to be a reality and to see the seas coming up. So, and this is an image of how Barcelona will look like, but it's not only Barcelona that's going to be under the sea. These are some studies of cities in India, and I really want to know what would happen if a city like Mumbai has to evacuate and move somewhere else. And this is really a big problem. I mean, it's not about a small problem of a tree dying here and there. It's about full cities moving and huge migrations happening. And this probably is, probably the good news and the bad news is probably climate change is not going to kill us. It's probably going to be the wars caused by all these migrations that will take place because of climate change. Anyway, so what do we do? So, as an architect, I was thinking, well, how can I think about a manager, a businessman that has some kind of link with design? And I was thinking about Elon Musk. No? So, for example, Elon Musk is someone who's taken climate change very seriously, and since many years ago, he's trying to make the main way we move around cities more ecological. No? So, many years ago, he designed the Tesla Roadster. This was the first Tesla that was based on a Lotus, a British car, sports car. And the idea, the business model was that he will make this very, very expensive car with a huge margin of profits, so he will have more money to research into cars that he could sell to everyone else. And then in 2012 came the Tesla X. I'm a little bit of a car blind, but he's been developing all these cars with these funny doors. So all these cars, and then suddenly he came with a surprise. All the architects were surprised. Why is Elon Musk suddenly making roofs? Roof tiles. He came and he presented this roof tile. He makes cars. Why is he making these things? And he even has these very different ways of making roofs that will be solar roof types. And he also was, at the same time, he was presenting the power wall. So Elon Musk has a vision for the future. If everyone is to own a Tesla or an electric vehicle, you'll probably have to produce electricity yourself, because nowhere in the world there's enough electric production to fill every electric car if every car was electric. And then the next surprise was when he came and decided to invest in the Boring Company, a very funny name for a boring company. And why is he doing this? And of course he explained, well, he wants to improve transportation. But the reality is that in order to supply all the lithium he needs for all the batteries he needs for his cars, he needs to dig deeper and deeper, and that cannot be done with current technology. So he has to start investing now, so in the future he has the technology to reach those lithium resources that he needs to keep selling cars in the future. And then what's next? Why did he send the Tesla Roadster to the moon? Well, not to the moon, to the space. Well, if he's to produce lithium and all these rare materials, maybe he will run out of these materials in Earth, and he will need to start exploring extraterrestrial spaces to get these materials. So that's why he's investing. So here I'm looking at someone who's really looking 2-3 chapters ahead. But what if Tesla cars are not really cars? And maybe, it is said that Tesla knows the state of every road in the world better than any government, because every Tesla is like a sensor, and it senses where where are there holes and where there's bumps in the roads and all these kinds of things, So in a way, Tesla is not only producing cars, but it's becoming a huge machine of generating knowledge. And then with this satellite, the Starlink system, and after he bought Twitter, in a way, I'm probably sure that Elon Musk thinks himself as someone who could suddenly become a great, I don't know if ruler, but someone like an oracle for the rest of the world, someone who knows everything about everything. But he's already started, and as he knows so much, he's seen that, well, maybe the future doesn't look that nice because not everybody will agree with his utopia. So then the last car he presented is this bulletproof Cybertruck, which is bulletproof because he's already thinking in a world where inequality is going to be so massive that people will need, like those who can afford to buy trucks will need to be defended in this kind of bulletproof car. So, and well, this is the design. So he pretends that he's presenting something very innovative, but at the end it doesn't look too different to a car that was designed in the 80s. So in a way, what is this future about? No? Is it a future, a real future, or is it just some nostalgia of someone who was looking at comics in the 80s and trying to replicate this future that is already 40 years old? Anyway, these are some images of what the future as designed and thought by Elon Musk might be. And he's not the only one. I mean, if you take Steve Jobs and all the Apple world, you can see that, well, very fancy objects like this may be used for other things, no? Why make the world better when you can have people subscribe to a perfect and personalized real virtuality? So anyway, I'm from Cybertruck to Cyber City, so I was very curious to find out that there's a neighborhood in Delhi that's called Cyber City, and it has a little bit of the same problems, no? So it's presented as something very innovative and futuristic with all this glass, and I mean, I'm an architect, and whenever you are lazy and someone comes to you and wants an innovative design, you just tilt something and suddenly you have something innovative, which is just a tilted building. And it's not that innovative. I mean, actually, it's a little bit like there are these two towers in Madrid, designed in the 80s, and they also have this thing. And what the architects in Delhi did better is that they did the building much thicker and weighter, so they seem to be twisted, but actually they're much bigger. No? But one thing that the architects in Delhi have done much better is at least they noticed and they repaired this problem. So because these buildings that are built with aluminium, with a material that it was designed for planes, I mean, planes have to be very light so they can take off, but somehow there was this fashion of cladding buildings with aluminium, with these, and as you know, they are very inflammable, and well, in India, in Delhi, they decided to replace them. Something that in Spain we didn't, and this is just a fire that happened 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, anyway, so let's try to move out of this. I mean, this technology, this kind of technological feudalism or even colonialism, where we are all so dependent on our iPhones for everything we do, and how to try things differently. So architects have been used to imagine futures for a long time ago. So these are designs of a city outside of Earth, or these were designs by Bucky Fuller, an engineer, for protecting Manhattan from a climate that will be no longer suitable for humans. This is the same project of underground cities in Nevada. But I mean, actually today imaging cities is something that you can very quickly and easily do by AI. So as a professor and teacher and educator, what can we do to do something different? And what we've been trying to do in the last years in our School of Architecture in Aachen is, well, go back to very basic things. So, for example, this is a workshop that lasted 2 summers during 2 years, in which we built a small hut with mud. And this was a technique that was used in Germany a long time ago. It was very used during the Second World War because most of the concrete and steel production had to go for the war machinery. But because of the cement factory and the cement lobbies, mud was completely outphased. But now we find, well, in the school, if we want to think out the future, we have to think out how can we do things simpler, completely, and emancipate ourselves from the dictatorship of technology. And then we had to do a roof, so we used bamboo. And bamboo is a very extreme material, and it's very common in India. And well, this is just some examples. And after doing this building, we also did a trip to India, and we visited some colleagues here. So India is also the cutting edge in some places. In some offices are really working hard in finding alternative to this kind of nostalgic future, like a future that belonged to the 60s, 70s, 80s, but doesn't belong today. No? And maybe the future has to look something different. So yeah, this is just a tribute to those Indian colleagues that are also working on the same spirit. And yeah, so this is the last image. So what I want to say is that building very simply is not going to change the world. But at least as a form of education, having people working outside of their air-conditioned offices and touching reality with their own hands, feeling the smell of mud, of the heat, is a way to understand better what's going around us, and it probably will make you better managers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an insightful, very creative presentation. Moving ahead, we have with us Dr. Jwala Prasad, Director Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Smriti. Sir has served as a Registrar of National School of Drama. He was Assistant Registrar at Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Bihar. Sir was Assistant Registrar of JNU and also deputed as Officer on Special Duty of Vice Chancellor of JNU. Before this, Sir was Joint Registrar of University of Delhi and Assistant Professor at Hindu College, Delhi University. I invite Dr. Jwala Prasad for his address. Over to you, sir.
अखंड मंडलाकारं व्याप्तं मेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं मेन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। महाराजा अग्रसेन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट स्टडी द्वारा आयोजित इस इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार के शुभ अवसर पे मंच पे उपस्थित ऑनरेबल एक्टिंग चेयरमैन रेस्पेक्टेड एसपी अग्रवाल साहब, ऑनरेबल सेक्रेटरी श्रीमान रजनीश गुप्ता जी, रेस्पेक्टेड प्रोफेसर एसके गर्ग साहब, रेस्पेक्टेड विजय गर्ग साहब, मैडम रजनी मल्होत्रा ढिंगरा एंड मैडम another distinguished madam here, respected faculty members, our friends Dr. पाठक, Dr. गुलशन और आप सभी विकसित भारत जिनके कंधों पे है, ऐसे देश के युवा भविष्य विद्यार्थी, आप सभी का मैं इस कार्यशाला में, इस सेमिनार में, इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार में अभिवादन करता हूँ। आप सभी को नमस्ते। सुखद संजोग है, जब मैं बैठा था तो पीछे लाइट ऑफ था, तो मुझे लगा कि ज्वाला के रहते अंधकार कैसे हो गया, लेकिन अभी लाइट ऑन है, सभी लोग दृश्यमान हैं, दिख रहे हैं। और प्रोफेसर जोशी ने ओपनिंग रिमार्क में, मिस्टर चौधरी ने और अभी मेरे से पहले जो वक्ता थे, बहुत सारे विषयों पे मुझे लगता है कि आप सभी को विशद ज्ञान एक बृहद रूप में प्रस्तुत किया जा चुका है। लेकिन अपनी संस्कृति में एक श्लोक है, पोथी पढ़ी पढ़ी जग मुआ, पंडित भया न कोय, ढाई आखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित होय। हम पूरे दिन भर चर्चा करते हैं, काफ़ी लंबा सत्र होता है, पीपीटी दिखाया जाता है, प्रेजेंटेशन होता है, बहुत सारी थ्योरी और प्रैक्टिकल बातें होती हैं। हम लेकर कितना जाते हैं, अनिवार्य रूप से हमें इसको समझना है। रिविजिटिंग बिजनेस एजुकेशन, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, ये सारे टॉपिक बड़े रेलिवेंट हैं। लेकिन मैं आप सबसे ये पूछना चाहूँगा, पीछे आया कि वेल्थ क्रिएशन करना होगा, हमें विकसित भारत बनाना है तो, लेकिन आखिर वो वेल्थ क्रिएशन किस कॉस्ट पे? मैं गांधी स्मृति दर्शन समिति से आया हूँ। यहाँ जानकर खुशी हुई कि महाराजा अग्रसेन इंस्टीट्यूट अपना 25 वर्ष पूर्ण कर रहा है। इस अवसर पे संपूर्ण प्रबंधक मंडली और आप सभी को मैं बधाई देना चाहूँगा। साथ ही आज एक ऐतिहासिक दिन भी है। आप सभी को जानकारी होगी, आज से लगभग 95 वर्ष पूर्व 30 मार्च 1930 में 12 मार्च के दिन, आज ही के दिन गांधी ने दांडी यात्रा शुरू की थी। लगभग 95 वर्ष आज पूर्ण हो रहे हैं और इस अवसर पे हम सभी आपके इंस्टीट्यूट में पीछे आपके फैकल्टी मेंबर्स और कुछ डिपार्टमेंट के बच्चों ने गांधी दर्शन का विजिट भी किया। हम सब यहाँ महात्मा गांधी सेंटर फॉर पीस एंड नॉन वायलेंस भी शुरू कर रहे हैं और गांधी स्टडी सर्कल भी यहाँ शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। जो मैंने कहा कि वेल्थ क्रिएशन, आप सभी को ध्यान होगा, महात्मा गांधी जब मोहन के रूप में अपनी जीवन की यात्रा शुरू करते हैं, उनके पिताजी राजकोट के दीवान हैं और एक अच्छे घर, आप सब गांधी दर्शन यदि गए होंगे तो उस समय जो बचपन अवस्था में गांधी का घर है वो महल होता है। तो एक ग्रेट लीडर की यात्रा जो होती है वो महल से शुरू होती है और आश्रम तक आकर समाप्त होती है। लेकिन आज हम सब वेल्थ क्रिएशन में इतने मंत्रमुग्ध हैं, आश्रम से शुरू तो करते हैं, महल तक जाते हैं, लेकिन वैल्यू एडिशन की बात सुनकर मुझे खुशी हुई कि यहाँ कुछ वैल्यू एडिशन भी कोर्स शुरू होने जा रहे हैं। अमेरिका में ब्रेन ड्रेन होता है, शिफ्ट हो जाते हैं, हम अपने पेरेंट्स को वृद्धाश्रम में रखने के लिए मजबूर करते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि हमें विकास, हमें शिक्षा, हमें जो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट उस कॉस्ट पे नहीं चाहिए कि अपने हम सभ्यता को नष्ट करके, हम अपने बुजुर्गों का अनादर करके, हमें विकसित भारत प्राप्त करना है अपने संस्कृति सभ्यता के साथ। अगर कोई इमारत बहुत ऊंची है, बहुत विकसित हो गई और वो जड़ से नहीं जुड़ी है, वो इमारत ढह जाएगी मित्रों। तो मुझे लगता है कि 2047 विकसित भारत का पुनः जो स्वप्न देखा गया, क्योंकि हम सब विकसित रहे हैं, भारत विश्व गुरु रहा है, हम दोबारा उसको प्राप्त करने की, सोने की चिड़िया बनने की दोबारा हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमने एक बार करके दिखा चुके हैं हम सब। लेकिन आखिर क्यों हम सब सुनते भी हैं, मिस्र यूनान रोमा सब मिट गए जहाँ से, कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी। वो बात क्या थी? वही ये बात है कि हम अपने संस्कृति को लेकर चले, हम अपने सभ्यता को लेकर चले, हम वैल्यू एडिशन के साथ थे, नैतिकता में हम सर्वश्रेष्ठ थे। पूरा दुनिया हमें दुख में हमसे मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त करता था। और आज भी आपने उदाहरण देखा होगा, कोरोना में अगर बिजनेस में कोई बिजनेसमैन है, उसका कोई प्रोडक्ट बहुत सेल हो रहा है, वो प्राइस बढ़ाता है, लाभांश की बहुत ज़्यादा वो इच्छा रखता है। लेकिन हमारे यहाँ डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा थी, वैक्सीन हम बनाए, सबको अनिवार्य था, हम जितना चाहते मूल्य रख सकते थे, लेकिन हमने वाजिब दाम में बिना ज़्यादा लाभांश के खुद तो हम प्रयोग किए ही और उस विषद परिस्थिति में दुनिया को हमने दिया। तो मित्रों, जो अपने अयम निजः परोवेति गणना लघु चेतसाम उदार चरिता नाम तु वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, ये सिर्फ श्लोक शास्त्र में नहीं, ये अपने देश में, अपने व्यवहार और चरितार्थ में भी है। हम सब इसको पालन करते हैं, हम पूरे संसार को, वसुधा को अपना परिवार मानते हैं, इसीलिए हम इस भावना से कार्य करते हैं। हमें जो बिजनेस, हमें जो वेल्थ क्रिएशन करना है, दूसरों को हार्म, पर्यावरण को नुकसान और अगली पीढ़ी को चिंता, ये सब करते हुए कि अगली पीढ़ी के लिए हम क्या छोड़ के जा रहे हैं। अभी आपने देखा होगा, अभी बहुत सारी बातें हुई, एक्टिंग चेयरमैन साहब ने बताया भोपाल गैस त्रैसदी के बारे में, लेकिन आप सब अभी पीछे उत्तराखंड में एक टनल में जो मजदूर फंस गए थे, आपने देखा होगा। बहुत सारे देश से उसमें बहुत सारे टेक्निक्स के द्वारा और बहुत बड़ी बड़ी मशीनों का प्रयोग किया गया, लेकिन अंत में कार्य कौन किया? वही चट्टान और पत्थर तोड़ने वाला मजदूर। हमें विकास करना है, लेकिन अपनी रूट की चीज़ों को आगे बढ़ाते हुए, अगर जहाँ सुई की आवश्यकता है तो उस सुई को भी हमें याद करना है। हम सिर्फ जहाज करेंगे और सुई की आवश्यकता होगी तो वहाँ जहाज काम नहीं आएगा। तो अपने यहाँ शून्य से शिखर तक की परिकल्पना है मित्रों। हमें लगता है कि हमें उसे संजोकर उसको साथ लेकर विकसित होना है। हमें उस प्रकार से बिजनेस करना है। एक छोटी सी 1 मिनट की कहानी आप सबके सामने मैं रखना चाहूँगा। एक मछुआरा जो मछली का कार्य करता था, वो नदी में जाल और नाव के साथ मछली पकड़ने के लिए जाल डालता था, और जब ऐसे ही थक जाता था मई जून की महीना में, तो वो नाव में अपने आराम करता था। एक उसको उद्योगपति देखा और आके बोला कि अरे तुम ज़्यादा परिश्रम करोगे तो तुम्हारा बिजनेस और ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगा। जब वो सोए हुए मुद्रा में था तो उसको उसने उपदेश दिया जगाकर कि तुम मेहनत करो। उसको भी लगा कि बात तो ये सही कह रहा है कि हम ज़्यादा मेहनत करेंगे तो हमारा जो व्यवसाय है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ेगा। उसने उस नदी से कार्य प्रारंभ किया। 2-4 नदी में उसने मछली पालन, उसके बाद उसने और नाव, स्टीमर, यात्रियों के आवागमन के लिए तो पोत तक की व्यवस्था किया, पोर्ट। फिर बंदरगाह पे बड़े बड़े उसने पूरे कुछ दिनों में राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर का ख्याति प्राप्त हो मछली का उद्योग करने वाला व्यवसायी बन गया। लेकिन एक समय उसके पास चैन के लिए, शांति के लिए वक्त नहीं था, वो बड़ा परेशान था। फिर उसने किसी तरह से उस उद्योगपति को मिला और कहा कि मुझे अब ये बताइए, आपने जैसा जैसा मुझे कहा, मेरा तो बिजनेस पूरा वर्ल्ड लेवल पे हो गया है, बहुत राशि है, बहुत पैसे हैं, लेकिन मुझे सुख शांति चाहिए, मैं चैन से सोना चाहता हूँ। तो उसने कहा कि इसमें क्या है, तुम जाओ और 5 स्टार होटल में सो जाओ। उसने कहा नहीं, मैं तो सोने जाता हूँ तो मुझे याद आता है कि वहाँ का मैनेजर फ़ोन कर रहा है, वहाँ मेरा केस चल रहा है, यहाँ मेरा इतना बिजनेस है, वहाँ ऐसा चल रहा है, मुझे तो नींद आती नहीं है। तो उसने कहा कि नहीं, तुम इन सबको कुछ देर के लिए भूलो और चैन की नींद से सो। उसने कहा नहीं, मैं कितना भी भुलाने का प्रयास कर रहा हूँ लेकिन मुझे चैन की नींद नहीं आती है। उसने कहा ठीक है, तो तुम ये सब छोड़ो और आराम करके जाकर सो जाओ, पूरे एकदम आराम से। उसने कहा कि फिर ये तो 20 साल पहले मैं जो नाव पे सो रहा था वही कार्य कर रहा था। तो मुझे मित्रों अपने व्यवसाय को जो बढ़ाना है, हमें चैन के साथ, इतना भी वैश्वीकरण में इतना भी मंत्रमुग्ध नहीं हो जाना है कि हम अपने शॉर्ट टेम्पर्ड हो जाते हैं, गुस्सा को कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते। तो मुझे लगता है आज इस अवसर पे गांधी जी की फिलॉसफी है। गांधी जी जो लक्ष्य प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं, जो लक्ष्य तय करना चाहते हैं, एंड्स को प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए होलिस्टिक जॉब और जो मीन्स है वो उस तरह का पवित्र मीन्स माध्यम से वो प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं। और गांधी का कहना है कि अगर हम अपने जीवन को आसान बनाना चाहते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि हमें बहुत उपदेशात्मक नहीं होना चाहिए, हमें क्रियान्वयात्मक होना चाहिए। हम बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बात कर देते हैं लेकिन उसको व्यवहार में नहीं ला पाते। गांधी भी बहुत बड़े बड़े काम नहीं किए, बहुत छोटा छोटा वो काम किए, लेकिन उन्होंने व्यवहार में उस कार्य को करके दिखाया। तो एक इस अवसर पे मैं शेर से अपनी बात समाप्त करना चाहूँगा। कुछ इस कदर मैंने अपने ज़िंदगी को आसान कर लिया, कुछ इस कदर मैंने अपने जीवन को आसान कर लिया, किसी को माफ़ी दे दी तो किसी से माफ़ी मांग लिया। मुझे लगता है कि आज हमें कोई भी कार्य कर रहे हैं और ये 2 फिलॉसफी को लेके चल रहे हैं तो शायद जियो और जीने दो की भावना के साथ खुद की चैन की ज़िंदगी भी हम जी सकते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। पुनः महाराजा अग्रसेन इंस्टीट्यूट के संपूर्ण प्रबंधक को, संपूर्ण प्राध्यापक मंडली को और विद्यार्थियों को मैं हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं। धन्यवाद।
आपने सही कहा, विकसित भारत के निर्माण के लिए सबका प्रयास जरूरी है। सर, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। We have amongst us Dr. Vijay Garg, Chairman SCAC, Delhi Department of Environment, NCT of Delhi. Sir is also Honorable Advisor to Government of Delhi, NCT, and is among the member of Board of Governors for SPA Bhopal. Sir has shown his leadership by serving as the Acting President of Council of Architects. Sir has worked as the Joint Honorable Secretary of Indian Institutes of Architects and has ventured with his brilliance in his career by working as a Chairman of Finance Committee and the Chairman of Publication Board at the Indian Institute of Architects at different periods. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, madam. First of all, I would like to thank Maharaja Institute of Agrasen Institute of Management Studies for inviting me here, and respected Dr. Nand Kishore Garg in absentia, whom I have been associated with for a long time, maybe I can say for last 45 years or plus, and with the blessings of Dr. Nand Kishore Garg ji, then our acting chair, executive chairman Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, Madam Dhingra, Rajneesh Gupta ji and S.K. Garg Saab, and Dr. Gora Agarwal for inviting me here on this occasion of Silver Jubilee and the conference on sustainable development. I being an architect by profession and presently doing honors of serving the government of Delhi for environmental protection of or protecting environmental damage through buildings in Delhi. So what Dr. S.P. Agarwal sir has already told you, he's touched upon very relevant subjects relevant to this conference regarding water, air and dust, which are being one of the most important factors of concern today. And what people believe that sustainable development is a costly affair, and earlier people were talking about green buildings, green development, but there is a difference between green development and sustainable development. Sustainable development talk about reusing, recycling, being ground to earth, not using much resources, or maybe recycling most of the resources. A small example, if we relate to water. Water is available in plenty, but is available free. But at the same time, every one of us knows, and our chairman also touched upon this subject, that water is scarce and people are not getting water, and there may be next world war on water. What is happening, the water is available, but use of water and management of water is a bigger concern. If today we talk about water in such, that what our buildings use water, because I am primarily an architect, I'll give an example of the architecture, that if we have to use 100 kiloliter of water, 65% at least can be recycled from that water and reused in the same building, thereby bringing the potable water requirement by 65%. And rest can be generated through rainwater harvesting, rainwater storage, etc., etc. And we talk about that sustainable water development where we have zero discharge of water, so that there is no burden on the sewerage system and no flooding of water on the streets if we follow these simple techniques. And that is where we work in sustainable development and as an environmental committee in Delhi, that whatever buildings are being made in Delhi today, our job is to ensure that they use maximum or the 100% of water being used by building and recycled, and thereby minimum requirement of water and electricity energy is regenerated through various sources. And ultimate aim is to zero carbon footprint in time to come by 2041. That is the target. And major buildings in today's environment where we have large buildings, and that is the biggest target, and where the role of management institutions come in. That is where this conference has a lot of meaning, that management students have to talk about economy of use, and economy of use by talking of life cycle cost of each material, each usage, and in turn making sustainable development a preferable choice. And today it is the requirement that we need to talk about sustainable development, and it is a compulsion that if we don't do this, in time to come, it will become a problem for tomorrow. So today we need to talk about dust management, we talk about sewerage management, we need to talk about heating of buildings. What we talk about the cooler buildings means less increase in temperature outside in the ambient air, and at the same time making buildings cool, reducing the requirement of air conditioning and other parameters which increases load on the infrastructure. So all that is the requirement and which can be managed by the proper management of the buildings. And that is where the environmental impact assessment to minimize the ecological footprint of the operations and product and supply chain becomes the job of a management professional. And that is why we need to talk about this in the classroom. That is why we need to talk about when these MBA students go to the field, they need to talk about environmental impact and their cost of the product, cost of the operations, and eventually the cost of the product, which is more favorable, more responsible, and more sellable in the market. And as a social responsibility, it is our responsibility that we need to talk about the fair labor practices, diversity of initiatives, and contribute positive and local communities. Then economic viability, ensure that sustainable practices are economically viable, contribute to long-term business growth. Because it is most important, if we can prove it to people that it's economically viable to do sustainable development, people will love it and they will prefer. Then innovation is required today to culture of innovation to develop eco-friendly products and services and processes. It is important because the eco-friendly products are more liked by people in terms of now people are more conscious of the environment, the damage to their livelihood, and ultimately the objective of the every educated person or every product seller or product developer that their processes are environmentally not damaging and sustainable for a proper development, and thereby coming to sustainable supply chain management, and there is a transparency required in that. Whatever sustainable efforts we are taking to develop the product or talk about recycling and reuse, it is informed to people that what is this and how it is reducing, and it is not damaging. Like people don't like to reuse water for drinking purposes, recycled water. But ultimately, if you see, 80% of the water is recycled in one way or the other for being used for drinking purposes. And there is an effort by the people that we need to be so that the water people like that understand the use of recycled water is useful, and there is a technology being developed by government, and so where that people can recycle the water within their household and use it for many purposes other than drinking. But maybe in time to come we will talk about drinking water to be used by from recycled usage. And ultimately the customer communication regarding business management and profitability. So what I mean to say, the business development and we talk about environmental sustainability go hand in hand, and they can serve the purpose, a long-term purpose and objective of the nation for developing a product or the business environment which is sustainable and environmentally feasible. Because time being short, I would like to close it here for the time being. Thank you so much for inviting me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, we have the message from the torchbearer of our institute, Dr. Nankishore Gargji, Founder Chairman and Chief Advisor, Maharaja Agrasen Technical Education Society, Maims, and Chancellor, Maharaja Agrasen University, Himachal Pradesh. Dr. Garg, a well-known reader and orator on his degree in chemistry and law from University of Delhi, so has been awarded honorary D.Litt by Gurukul Vishwavidyalaya. Sir has a long association in politics wherein he was elected as a member of Legislative Assembly and represented Delhi Vidhan Sabha for 3 times. Sir was given Best Parliamentarian Award also by the Delhi government. Sir is presently pioneering the field of technical and professional education from last 21 years. Sir will join us online today and Sir will proceed with the presidential address for the MIC 2024.
Namaskar, good morning to every participant. I am very happy that our Maims is organizing an international conference 2024 revisiting business, education and communication with an emphasis on sustainable development. This event is sponsored by Indian Council for Social Science Research and academic partner is St. John's University, New York, USA. I am right now in Thailand, but would have been very happy to attend this conference. Many learned academicians from India and abroad are participating in this session. I welcome you all. Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies is a very prestigious A++ institute affiliated to GGSIP University, and we are fortunate that we have earned A++ accreditation from the NEC. Our institute is growing fast. We hope to achieve autonomous status by the year end. We are celebrating 25th year of our existence. Right now we have around 9,000 students and 1,000 staff, including class 4 to Principal, Director General, etc. This conference will give exposure to our teachers, to our students, and will help to achieve the goal of developed India by 2047, as is emphasized by our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. We will contribute our might to this development. Sustainable development is the buzzword. Development should be all-inclusive also. I wish all the success to this conference. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Amongst his many noteworthy achievements, one of his important achievements include that of designing choice-based credit system in 2014. Sir has been a recipient of Ambassador for Peace Award conferred by International Federation for World Peace. Over to you, sir, Professor Dr. S.K. Garg.
Good afternoon, friends. Can I have your response? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's better. The job of the last speaker is most difficult and most easy. Do you know why? Can I request you to be silent for 3 minutes? All of you, students, can you be silent for 3 minutes? Because that's the time I'm going to take. The job of the last speaker is most difficult because the other speakers have already covered everything and nothing is left to be spoken. And it is most easy, again for the same reason, because everything has been said. So what I am going to do is, I'll take up only 2 things out of the national education policy. Do you know why the theme of this conference is revisiting? Why do we have to revisit? We have to revisit because the national education policy, which came up in 2020 and has been implemented from 2022 because of COVID and other reasons. This policy, the more you read, the more you realize how much work has gone into in making this policy. Friends, I have taken 2 aspects from this policy today. One is, the policy emphasizes that our students must learn the Indian knowledge system. The Director, Higher Education, has mentioned a lot of things, almost covered everything which I wanted to say if I had got a chance earlier, so I'm not going to repeat it. But from the Indian knowledge system, I will cite some examples which will convince you that our system was far superior than the education system of any country of the world. The director told you that around 500 AD, the Nalanda University came into existence. And around 1100, it was destroyed by the invaders. The Nalanda library burnt for 6 months. So much was the volume of books in it. It continuously burned for 6 months. Our knowledge system was destroyed. Still, you can find innumerable examples of our expertise in various fields still alive. I'll take the case of architecture. If you happen to visit the various monuments and temples in South India, in Rajasthan, and in almost every state of the country, you will find that the architecture is so good, so marvelous, that the modern day architects are at a loss to understand how it would have been built. I wish I had the capability to show you visually, but there is a temple in which an animal is shown, probably a lion, and in the mouth of the lion there is a spherical ball, all made of stone, all carved out of a single stone. And the ball is in the mouth, can be rolled, can be moved, but cannot be taken out. Nobody is able to tell how it would have been built. In the same temple, there is a chain cut out of a single rock in which 4 rings are hanging, and how that has been carved out is difficult to comprehend. This is just one example of architecture I am saying. Health. You must know that yoga is now accepted as the best exercise all over the world. And in yoga, let me tell you, there is no gym, there is no sports which can help you exercising for your brain. Your brain is covered inside your skull, and no exercise can carry out any exercise of the brain. But in yoga, you must have heard of one pranayam, that is Bhramari pranayam. How many of you have heard it? Please raise your hands. Bhramari pranayam. No, hardly anyone. It is just closing your ears and producing a humming sound while exhaling your breath. And while you exhale and produce this humming sound, your brain can feel the vibrations, and that is the exercise for your brain. Besides, the Ayurvedic system of medicine is well known, well established in India, and is being promoted across the world now. Regarding astronomy and mathematics, Joshi ji mentioned about zero diya mere Bharat ne. That is true. You must have heard of one Chinese learner, Huan Seng. How many of you have heard it in history? Huan Seng? There is a story which Huan Seng has narrated in his experiences after going back to China. While he was going, because there was no other modes of transport, so he was walking through the hills and mountains, and while he reached in China, he was caught by a tribe of people who were tribals, who did not know who he is, and they thought he is somebody dangerous to them, he may cause them harm, and so they decided to kill him. He was scared. He said, I am not a bad man, I am a good man, and I have the power to make the moon disappear. So they were surprised. They said, okay, you make the moon disappear. He said, give me 2 days. After 2 days, it was lunar eclipse and the moon disappeared. So they thought he is a saint and started worshipping him. So the things changed totally. And he could do it because he had learned the astronomical calculations and he knew that the lunar eclipse is going to happen soon. And that is how he could save his life. So this astronomy and mathematics, they were far more developed in our country much before they developed in the Western world. Even our calendar, you must have heard of the name Vikrami Samvat. Can anybody tell me which Vikrami Samvat is going on? Which is the year this at the moment? Like 2024 is as per the Christian era. What year is it now as per the Vikrami Samvat? It's 2080. So we started our calendar half a century before the Europeans started it. हमारा 2080 चल रहा है और उनका 2024 है अभी. तो हमारा कैलेंडर पहले शुरू हुआ. एग्रीकल्चर आजकल क्रेज है ऑर्गेनिक फूड्स का. यू पे डबल द प्राइस एंड बाय ऑर्गेनिक पल्सेस, ऑर्गेनिक राइस, ऑर्गेनिक, अब तो ऑर्गेनिक मिल्क और ऑर्गेनिक घी भी नाम दे दिया है क्योंकि हमारी गाय को हम ऑर्गेनिक चारा खिलाते हैं. That is the kind of craze that is going on. Our agriculture system was based on utilizing organic waste only. We didn't have to pollute our rivers with the excreta. The excreta was an organic waste, a manure, and was used for agricultural purposes. Our system was environment friendly vis-a-vis the system which the Europeans developed. And about environment, needless to say that we have been worshipping rivers by calling them mothers. माँ गंगा, यमुना मैया, किसी भी रिवर के साथ देख लीजिए आप, माँ का या मैया का नाम लगा हुआ होगा. पेड़ों की भी पूजा करते हैं. हमारे यहाँ जो बैनियन ट्री है, वड का वृक्ष जिसे बोलते हैं, और पीपल ट्री, दे आर वर्शिप्ड because they do not deplete our environmental resources. They give you oxygen. Even one of them gives oxygen even during the night time. On the contrary, we were asked to promote trees like eucalyptus, which have depleted our water table in Delhi particularly to such an extent that the water table went almost 50-60 feet down after huge eucalyptus plantation was done in Delhi. So my friends, have faith in our Indian knowledge system, and my request to the faculty members is, it will be very difficult to teach Indian knowledge system as a specific paper. Kindly take examples from Indian knowledge system and imbibe them into your routine lectures. This is how we can promote Indian knowledge system. And second thing I would like to touch from NDP is skilling. Our education should not be based on memorizing theoretical concepts. We need to improve the skill sets of our students. We need to make them industry ready for employment. And that will be possible through internships in real work-life situations. So these two aspects I have touched. There are many more. Please read more about it from the internet. A lot of material is available, and I am sure you will find why there was a need to revisit business education. I thought it is business education, but it is business education and communication, but it is business education as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. We have amongst us our panelists for our panel session, so I would like to invite our esteemed guests who are present here with us for the next session. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Neetu Jain, Professor, Indian Institute of Public Administration on the dais. I request Professor Dr. Manju Gupta, Head Department of Commerce, and Dr. Bharti Chaudhary, Associate Professor, Department of Business Administration, to welcome ma'am with the sapling and memento. Ma'am, please. A huge round of applause. Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite students to please be seated on their seats. We are about to release our compendium. Please take your seats. Everyone, please settle down. Committee to please make all the students sit. Now we have amongst us Mr. Shishir Sinha, Associate Editor, The Hindu Business Line, Delhi. I request Sri S.P. Agarwal ji and Dr. Umesh Pathak to welcome sir with the sapling memento and gift. A huge round of applause. contribution and ideas have been chronicled by the organizers of this conference in the form of conference compendium. I request all the dignitaries and the conference team, conference co-conveners, Dr. Manju, Dr. Manoj, Dr. Umesh Pathak, Dr. Gaurav Agarwal, conveners, Dr. Bharti Chaudhary, Dr. Charu Mola, Dr. Shilpi Agarwal, co-conveners, Dr. Deepak Dagar, Dr. Shikha Sharma and Dr. Monica Sharma to come for compendium release. I request conference team to come on the dais. Chief conveners, convener and co-conveners of this international conference. A huge round of applause. I request the team to join in for a group photograph. Everyone. This compendium comprises of all the abstracts of the research papers that we have received for our international conference on revisiting business, education and communication with an emphasis on sustainable development. Thank you everyone. This compendium is a compilation of knowledge and insights about the new research by our esteemed participants. As we draw near to the conclusion of this enriching journey, we express our heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries who are there with us and all the participants who have enrolled for this conference and the insightful contributions they have given to us. I would like to propose the vote of thanks for the session. I would like to thank Dr. Nandkishore Gargji, Founder Chairman and Chief Advisor Maims for his forever support for us. I would like to thank Shri Vinit Kumar Lohia, Chairman Maims in absentia, Shri S.P. Agarwal ji, Shri Rajni Lukta ji, Dr. S.K. Garg, Professor Dr. Dhananjay Joshi, Shri Bhupesh Chaudhary, Mr. Ibai Rigbai, Mr. Vijay Garg, Dr. Jala Prasad, Dr. Neetu Jain, Mr. Shishir Sinha. I want students to please maintain silence and take their seats. Yes, students. I thank all the dignitaries, Professor. The theme of our panel discussion is Challenges and Opportunities for Sustainable Development in Global Context. Before starting the panel discussion, I would like to invite our guest, Dr. Vedabhyas Kundu, Program Officer, Gandhi Smriti. I request Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra and Dr. Charu Mola to welcome sir. A huge round of applause. Thank you, ma'am. Carries over more than 26 years of teaching, research and consultancy experience. Dr. Jain is MSc Chemistry, MBA HR and has doctorate in management. Ma'am was recently Chair Professor of Dr. Ambedkar Chair in Social Justice at IIPA. Ma'am has received KOICA Fellowship from NHRDI, Korea in the year 2018. Ma'am is recipient of International Women Achiever Award in 2022, International Women Award in 2018, Distinguished Teacher Award in 2016, and many more. Ma'am has been a recipient of Academic Excellence Award by Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankarji in year 2022 and was also conferred first prize by the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu at IIPA in 2019. She was featured on Sunset TV in March 2023 in a program on Women Achiever. Ma'am has also conducted multiple MTPs for Indian and foreign ministries, including Ministry of Cambodia, Nepal, Afghanistan, and many more. Ma'am has 2 patents and 75 publications in renowned journals and 3 books to her credit. One is New Spiritual Foundations of Management. We welcome you, ma'am. A huge round of applause. NCT Delhi. I request sir to please come on the dais. Sir is the chairman of State Expert Appraisal Committee, Department of Environment, NCT Delhi. He is also an honorable advisor to Government of Delhi NCT and is among member of Board of Governors for SPA Bhopal. Sir has shown his leadership by serving as acting president of Council of Architects. Sir has worked as joint honorable secretary of Indian Institute of Architects and has ventured with brilliance in his career by working as the chairman of Finance Committee and the chairman of Publication Board at the Indian Institute of Architects at different time periods. Welcome, sir. Amongst the panelists, we have Mr. Abhishek Gupta, General Manager and Head, International Appliances and Strategy, EESI, Ministry of Power, Government of India. Sir has more than 23 years of experience in renewable and conventional energy. Additionally, sir is also director on the board of EESL Energy Solutions LLC Dubai. Prior to this, sir has worked with multiple places, worked with BVG India Limited as vice president and head, as senior manager and multiple positions. We welcome you, sir. Amongst the panelists, next we have Mr. Shishir Sinha, who is working as a business journalist for last 28 years. Previously, he was working as an associate editor with Hindu Business Line, and sir's previous organizations include Amar Ujala, Aaj Tak, CNBC Awaaz, and ABP News. Sir is regularly engaged with Hindi and English writing for various government publications such as Yojana and Kurukshetra. And sir also make regular appearances as a business and economic expert on All India Radio and DD educational channels. Welcome, sir. Sir is a program officer at Gandhi Samriti and Darshan Samiti. Sir conducts workshops and delivers lectures and talks on different dimensions of Gandhian philosophy, both nationally and internationally. He coordinates and organizes different programs and academic initiatives of Samiti in different parts of the country. These include different state government institutions, central government institutions, judiciary, police, different forces, universities and colleges. We welcome, sir. Over to Dr. Neetu.
Distinguished guests, esteemed senior officials of Maims, Director Professor Rajni Dhingra ma'am, esteemed panelists, faculty members and dear students, a very good afternoon to you all. And we begin with this panel discussion on a very pertinent topic, that is challenges and opportunities for sustainable development in the global context. It's a very, very pertinent topic, keeping in view the VUCA environment, which is very volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and the challenges are magnified by the Bani, Rapt and Tuna environments as well. And when we talk about global context, we have to understand what we are doing here. We are basically 1/6 of global community, and our poverty and prosperity has a greater influence on global poverty and prosperity as well, which is why what we do will have an impact on the global scenario. And Bharat is a country which has believed in sustainable development since time immemorial. In Vedas, in Upanishads, we have seen, the number of couplets which focused on sustainable development. In Upanishad, we heard, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukh bhag bhave. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all people have their well-being, and none is suffering from any kind of misery. So that's the kind of scenario and the vision we had in our ancient Indian wisdom. We heard many luminary speakers in inaugural session as well who focused on Indian wisdom, and then we had this era of Gandhiji. We have a speaker from Gandhi Smriti as well. Gandhiji, there is a very popular couplet of Gandhiji. He mentioned that there is enough in the world for everyone's need but not for everyone's greed. We have to, that's how we can create a world which is peaceful, which is equal and prosperous for everyone, for each one of us and for future posterity. Moreover, it's important to note that in the present context as well, Government of India, especially our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, is also focusing on a lot of initiatives, and his focus is on that growth and environment should go hand in hand. And a lot of initiatives we heard of recently, like Clean Ganga Mission for reviving Ganges, and Swachh Bharat Mission, toilets before temples, pehle शौचालय फिर देवालय, and then national mission for clean Ganga, and lot many initiatives taken by him focuses on making India, Bharat a sustainable country for each one of us. And of course, as the future citizens, you are already citizen, but now the onus is on you to lead the campaigns and to make India a better place for everyone. And however, we cannot just sit back and relax, because Mark Twain once quoted that, the train of future would run over us if we keep sitting back, right? So we cannot wait for the future train to run over us, right? We have to do something. And which is why I would like to close with two lines. Would not take much time, because we have very great speakers with us who have a lot of ideas, insights to share with all of us. डुबकियां सिंधु में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौटकर आता है, मिलते नहीं सहज ही मोती गहरे पानी में, भरता दूना उत्साह इसी हैरानी में, मुट्ठी उसकी खाली हर बार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, कभी हार नहीं होती. First speaker, Mr. Shishir Sinha, Associate Editor, Hindu Business Line, Delhi. Sir, we have 3 minutes as stated in the schedule.
Let's come forward. आगे बैठ जाइए. खाली सीटें अच्छी नहीं लगती हैं ऑडियंस को, ठीक है?
नमस्कार. Welcome to the Red Eyes session. भोजन के बाद का सेशन है. बहुत मुश्किल होता है जगाए रखना, और आपके पास हम 5 लोग हैं. सबसे बड़ी बात आती है कि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट. देखिए, एक इकोनॉमिक्स के स्टूडेंट होने के नाते हम लोग कभी भी जब डेवलपमेंट की परिभाषा देते हैं, विकास की परिभाषा देते हैं, तो उसमें इस बात पर ध्यान देते हैं कि क्या ये विकास की परिभाषा या जिस विकास की हम बात कर रहे हैं ये टिकने वाला है कि नहीं, टिकाऊ है कि नहीं. दैट इज व्हाट आई बिलीव, दैट द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज नथिंग बट द ड्यूरेबल डेवलपमेंट. दैट इज नंबर 1. Number 2, whether we are talking about development which is inclusive or not, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं ना, समावेशी है कि नहीं, सभी को उसका फायदा मिल रहा है कि नहीं. And there is a misconception there. Misconception क्या है कि जब कभी भी हम लोग समावेशी विकास की बात करते हैं, इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ की बात करते हैं, तो we talk about socialism, we talk about Marxism, we talk about communalism. अगर इस तरह के डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस को अगर आप देखेंगे तो यहाँ पर कभी भी कैपिटल जनरेट नहीं हो पाता. एंड प्लीज रिमेंबर, इफ यू नीड डेवलपमेंट टू बी सस्टेनेबल, यू नीड regular growth and regular flow of the capital. So that means when you are talking about socialism, when you talk about communism, when you talk about Marxism, it is not something just about restricting the capital flow or distributing the wealth equally among all others. Market में क्या होगा? कोई कैपिटल जनरेट करने वाला नहीं होगा, और जब कैपिटल जनरेट करने वाला नहीं होगा तो आपका डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो सकता है. तो दिस इज नंबर 2. Second point, which I would like to highlight here, that when we talk about sustainable development and when we talk about inclusive growth under sustainable development, please do not confuse with the socialism or the Marxism. Please take it as a mixed economy. That means some goods from the capitalism and some goods from the socialism. And the third, which is very critical, is the green one. देखिए आज के दिन में सबसे बड़ी हमारी समस्या क्या है कि हम लोग डेवलपमेंट की बात तो करते हैं एंड लाइक हमारे प्रीवियस स्पीकर्स कह रहे थे कि हम लोग रिसाइकल रीयूज कर रहे हैं कि नहीं, उससे कहीं ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट ये भी है कि हम रीयूज और रिसाइकल करने के साथ साथ जो हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज हैं, कैन वी हैव द ऑप्टिमल यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, वेदर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट द रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेज और वेदर वी टॉक अबाउट द सोर्सेज विच आर गोइंग टू लैप्स आफ्टर सम टाइम. सो हमारा थर्ड पार्ट जो सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का है, इट इज समथिंग रिलेटेड विद द ग्रीन, बट दैट ग्रीन इज नॉट समथिंग जस्ट रिलेटेड विद कि हम कहीं सोलर पावर की बात कर लेते हैं, हम कहीं विंड पावर की बात कर लेते हैं, हम कहीं न्यू एंड रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी की बात कर लेते हैं, बल्कि जो रिसोर्सेज ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, कैन वी हैव द ऑप्टिमल यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ दैट रिसोर्सेज और दैट पर्टिकुलर रिसोर्स और नॉट. इफ वी आर एबल टू डू दैट, देन ओनली द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट और द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट विल बी देयर. सो देयर आर जस्ट थ्री पार्ट. वन, when we talk about sustainable development, we should talk about the inclusive development, and that inclusivity is nothing but the mixed economy. Number two, whatsoever resources we have, we should have the optimal utilization of those, and that also should come with the green development or the green preserving the green thing. And the third one, which is very very important, is how we can maintain that growth for a longer period. If we are able to do so, then only the concept of sustainable development will be applicable in India. That is possible. So thank you very much, and that's a 3 minute for me, and that's a 3 text for you. Thank you.
So you saved the time. 2 minutes. Mr. Abhishek Gupta, who is General Manager and Head International Appliances and Strategy, EESL, Ministry of Power. Over to you.
Yeah, I think now I will be operative. Thank you. Very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you so very much for inviting me here. हम थोड़ा काम की बात कर लेते हैं. सुबह से सस्टेनेबिलिटी और ढेर सारी भारी भरकम बातें चल रही हैं. मैं थोड़ा पैसे की बात कर लेता हूँ, शायद उससे लंच का जो हेवीनेस है थोड़ा कम हो जाएगा. लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, बिलीव मी और नॉट, सस्टेनेबिलिटी इज अ सेक्टर जिसमें आपको सबसे ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट की अपॉर्चुनिटी है, सबसे ज़्यादा बिजनेस की अपॉर्चुनिटी है और सबसे ज़्यादा पैसे बनाने की अपॉर्चुनिटी है. और ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट, you would be leaving the world a better place to live for the next generation, and that is what sustainability is all about. The kind of flora, fauna or environment you got from your ancestors, it is our responsibility as an individual, as a family, as a society, as a nation, leave the place which should be better than what we got from forefathers or ancestors. I come from industry. I have worked in government, private, all sort of industries. The kind of emphasis current government is giving on sustainable development, it will lead to specific opportunities for new entrepreneurs. Why am I saying so? Just I give you an example. There is a recent scheme launched by government for putting up solar rooftop solutions on the households. It is talking about 75,000 odd crores of subsidy to be given by government. And actually, who is the beneficiary? We all can be the beneficiary as users, and we can be even better and bigger beneficiary by having an entrepreneurial stint around this opportunity what is going to be provided by government, not only for the established businesses, for the startups, for young entrepreneurs who can find out specific opportunities for themselves. Sustainability is about employment creation, about getting more avenues for entrepreneurship. But what are we doing to protect our nation? I just give you an example. Currently, we are running a program for a meager fan. I just give you one statistics. India is selling around 40 million fans a year. And the fans which are consuming the electricity is amongst the highest in a household. If I just take this simple initiative and make this fan, which is consuming around 775 watt electricity, and make it energy efficient, believe me or not, your electricity bill is going to halve in no time. And the entrepreneurial opportunity is fantastic. You can be a manufacturer if you have got money, but if you don't have money, if you've got good connects, you can develop your own applications to disseminate this idea. You can have your own system for propagating the technology. You can have your own team which can work around to make it available to the last mile. You can work around a team which can do a lot of stuff related to maintenance. I'm talking about the business sense, which is actually the need of the hour to make sustainability as part of the business community, which is having the future like you. So I take a pause here. We'll have more discussion on this. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much. A lot of employment opportunities in the times to come. So now we move on to our third panelist, Mr. Ved Vyas Kundu. He is Program Officer of Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti, Delhi. Over to you, sir.
Very much. I focus totally on a very, very micro issue. We have talked about sustainable development. We are talking of how we can promote entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. This particular concept I've been working on for quite some time, both nationally and internationally. I've written on that, and I've also involved young people to actually work on this area. That is the whole notion which comes from the root of sustainable development or Mahatma Gandhi's non-violence, that is human interdependence. The whole notion of our great sensitivity to understand the unique relationship that we as human beings are not the only species on this earth. We are all interconnected, we are interdependent. The whole notion of the relationship between human, nature and all other living beings relationship. In fact, as part of it, I've been doing a lot of studies with people from the field of psychology, where we have talked on the whole notion of environmental psychology, ecological psychology, positive psychology, working with sociologists, working with development practitioners on how we can promote human interdependence literacy. The need of the hour today is how we can develop critical understanding of the art and science of human interdependence and assimilate its principles and values, and how we can actually put it into practice. Unless and until we are sensitive to that relationship between human nature and all other living beings, we will not be able to contribute that much to the whole notion of sustainable development. Also, it needs how we can develop empathy, compassion, act of gratitude to not just other human beings in our relationships, but also to nature and other living beings. So this whole paradigm one is working on, the whole notion of human interdependence literacy. There are different ways in which we can actually be human interdependent literate. Like how I can contribute, like say for instance, how I can contribute to the betterment of the systems around me, the ecosystems around me, how it can make it more energy efficient, how I can do very simple things where I can reduce energy use in my home or my institutions. So all these aspects form part of it. In fact, the other day we had an excellent program in the Hindu College in Delhi University on this aspect, and we had some really good speakers on practical application implications of human interdependence literacy. So today, as I feel, we must underline this whole idea, and I'm working on this area with many other people. In fact, also this friend of mine who is in Toronto, he works with some of the business houses and in the corporate sectors how we can introduce this whole idea. Because we are talking of energy efficiency, so on and so forth, but if I'm not sensitive to these very, very micro issues, which is part of the Indian approach, say, or when Mahatma Gandhi was thinking, if you read his the beautiful book by Lord Bhikkhu Parekh, Gandhi, A Short Introduction, he says the Gandhi's idea of non-violence emerges from the cosmocentric approach to human nature. So we are part of the entire cosmos. So if we are not really sensitive to that, we may do a lot of things, but we may not succeed in that way. So that is something which I wanted to underline. Thank you very much.
And we have to take care of that part, and there is a quotation, I am not able to recall that quotation, that says that even if we move a single finger in this universe, that has its impact on anyone, anywhere, and we all have similar consciousness. Our consciousness are united. So a lot of researches are going on in Western world about, as to how our consciousness are connected, and, what happened when tsunami came, and, when there was 9/11, and, a lot of, these type of pandemics, endemics, and epidemics, and these kind of crises happened over mankind, and how we reacted and how people were able to predict it before time, because our consciousness is connected, right? So that's how, so it's a very, we have to go down deep into our ancient scriptures to understand what is sustainable development. So thank you so much, sir. Now I call upon Mr. Vijay Garg for his speech on sustainable development. He is chairman, SEAC Department of Environment, NCT Delhi.
Thank you, ma'am. I have already shared my basic thoughts in the morning session, but I'll add few things that we have enough resources, but management of resources are required, because it is not like that we are not available with the sufficient resources. The resource is sufficient, but how do we use it in optimum manner? That is where the sustainable development will come in. And equal distribution of resources across the city is another part which is important, because if you look at, even I'll give you an example of water in Delhi. Water in Delhi is sufficiently available as far as we are concerned, because we are able to get water to drink and for our daily use. Most of the places in Delhi. Some places in Delhi may not be. But at the same time, it is sufficient, because the highest demand which we calculate is per capita. It depends on the maximum usage of a person. But average usage of a person is less than half. Like if you talk about Maharaja Agrawal Institute of Management Studies here, how many people are coming, we'll calculate a water demand based on the number of people visiting and using. But actual demand would be actually 30% of this institute. When we calculate total demand, then that demand is inflated demand. But at the same time, resources are made available by the government based on the inflated demand. And there's an artificial shortage being created. So what we need to look at in sustainable development, that the one is average usage. Number two, the recycled usage, which is called sustainable development. We can use reuse water, by which we can at least say 65% of water actually being used. So actual consumption would again be 35%. Similar is the case of energy. Like if we are sitting in this hall and if we switch off the lights behind, or we put sensors, or similarly the optimum light, earlier we used to use 40 watt tube light, before that we used to use 60 watt bulbs, now we are using 10 watt, 5 watt. But lux level, illumination level at our tables, at our places is equal, measurable. So what we need to use the efficient technology. That is another one. The third one is the mitigation measure of the development, which is most important to be considered from the environment point of view. See, every development has the side effects. So it cannot be said the development will not have environmental damages. Every development has environmental damages in terms of environmental pollutions, whether it is air pollution, whether it is sound pollution, water pollution, or heat generation. So heat generation happens because of the materials being used in the building, reflectivity, and amount of number of trees being cut, heat being not absorbed, all such method. So our job is basically to see all that development because of the development, negative effect or the damage to the nature does not happen at all. So basic question would be how can we do it? We can definitely do it because we can similarly, zero water discharge is a policy which we are able to adhere to in 60% of the buildings in Delhi in large scale development. And we should be able to do it in 100% if people are made conscious of it. So similarly for energy, if we use solar panels up to the tune of 10 to 15% of the total peak demand which is feasible in each building, so our electricity bills will be minimum will bring down to half or maybe even less. And similarly for heat mitigation, if we plant some number of trees and with the quality conscious trees which can take on the dust element on them, we can regularly wash them with the recycled water, and that water again is percolated in the ground, so there is no wastage of water in that. Recycled water being used, dust being collected by trees and not in the environment, so inhaling of the dust becomes less. So all that is part of sustainable development, and that is where the environmental measures are in place, the policies are in place, only the awareness is lacking. It doesn't take money to be making a sustainable building or doing a sustainable development. It's required only conscious and life cycle cost analysis and conscious of that how we are going to do it, and we should be aware that we need to do it. If we have determination, once you do it, you will become habitual of it, and that is what is required. And that is what I urge all of you to focus on that, and that will make us self-reliant in terms of environmental. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your brief remarks, and I fully agree with you that we have to focus on, creating more smart buildings which are using solar panels and such smart technologies which can minimize the environmental damage. Although you mentioned that development will have its own after effects, will deteriorate the environment, but we have to see what we can do, and he rightly mentioned that awareness is the first step, and I believe that this conference succeeded in creating the awareness among the youths, among the young minds, ignited the passion to go green. And how can you go green? And you will have many more takeaways from this conference, and you will have a lot of insights as to how you can go green. And we can see a lot of organizations are going for CSR, corporate social responsibilities, and the need of the hour is to go green. Green airports. Airport Authority of India has 3-4 airports which they have termed as green airports, and they are recycling all the used papers at one place and using that paper in making folders and distributing among their employees. So these are the efforts made by many organizations. So thank you so much, sir. So we now move on. Anyone else? No? All right, so it's good. So we not only focused on sustainable development, we walked our talk. Sustainable development क्या है? Maximum use of minimum resources. हम लोगों ने time का कितना अच्छा use किया? I believe it was for 30 minutes, and I thank from the core of my heart all my co-panelists who succeeded in not taking 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes. So otherwise initially people were saying 3 minutes का होता है, बोलते 6 मिनट है. I heard someone saying like this. So yeah, you have a question? Okay, yeah, sure. All right. Okay, so now the floor is open for my co-panelists and audience. Maybe if you would like to ask some question to any of our co-panelists, and any one of you would like to share your ideas, any other ideas which emerged in your mind during the course of discussion. So please share it. Since morning they are sitting. Sir is very right. So they may not be in that mindset. This is graveyard session. Post-lunch sessions are graveyard sessions. Yeah. Okay, that's true. We are committing violence by making you deliberately and sit in this hall and making you listen to those bhari bharkam concepts and philosophies, because creating awareness is the first step, and once we succeeded in creating awareness, I believe our mission, our purpose, the objective of this conference is truly fulfilled, isn't it? So I would, any points that anyone of you would like to mention, if, or else?
I'll ask a question to all the panelists. So how can you contribute as an institution being sitting here? How would the students and the faculty members and the participant here would contribute in making a sustainable development in their community where they are living and around? So one basic tip that if we can give it to them, that how would they be useful for the environment?
Sir, one thing which I feel is very important to know the number, data. At this moment, the real problem in communication about sustainable development is the lack of data, lack of some facts which should be conveyed. So as a student, I would request them to look for the data so that the things could be communicated effectively, because we all talk about the concept, but very few people know about what exactly is the sustainable development. Very few people know is about that how this is going to impact our lives. So for those things, if you have some data, if you have some facts, use them, articulate them and communicate to the people in large way. That will certainly help to create awareness, because just talking about sustainable development for 30 minutes, and if you are not able to communicate to the society that how this is going to change my life per se or your life per se, like you mentioned about the green building or like you mentioned about the energy saving buildings, those buildings, how many buildings we have or what kind of saving we have, if you are able to communicate to the people that this much saving you are going to have because of this, people will really understand that. I will just give you one example. अभी के बजट में एक announcement हुआ solar rooftop panel का. What was the highlight of that communication? हर साल आप 15,000 रुपए बचा सकते हैं. That was the number. So what I feel that if you are using those number, if you are using those data in communicating about a very complicated concept that is a sustainable development, people will be able to understand that. And being the students of management, they know the economics, they know the basic fundamentals of using the data. If you are able to do that, I'm sure that they will be a very good communicator of sustainable development.
Let me add a couple of points here. Thank you so very much for emphasizing the importance of data, which is actually something where we as a nation have to work a lot. We have not been very good at data providing, and even understanding the value of data. I just give a value. This LED panel, LED bulb and all, what did it do to our nation? Do you understand that? I just give a narrative. Conventional 60 watt, 100 watt bulbs which you might have seen in your childhoods, that has been simply replaced by 9 watt, 10 watt, 12 watt or 6 watt bulbs. See the quantum of electricity what you are going to save just by this small initiative. It is 90%. And what impact does it make on your bills? It gets half in no time. So as an institution, sir, first I think the foremost responsibility what we as an institution, be it educational or private or government, we have to walk the talk. Probably we are actually blessed. I'll say blessed because we at least have the primary level information about what government is doing, right? And actually it is our responsibility to be the role model for the society, because 90% of the people may not be aware about the things what are being done by the government or even have have the understanding or ability to understand the nitty-gritties of the schemes, what is being planned by government at times. So as an institution, we need to walk the talk. We need to actually propagate this awareness thing. I have been interacting with a lot of students, believe me or not, and I find that the level of awareness within the community is not even up to 10% what it should be. So we as an organization, we as students have got a role to play. And again, मैं तो पैसे की बात करूँगा, so बहुत पैसा बना सकते हो आप. This awareness creation itself is $1 billion industry in India, I'm telling you. And the people who are actually minting money out of this is people like us and you. It's all about how do you connect to the people. आप रील्स सारे बनाते हो ना, बिलीव में अगर आप एक अपना रील बनाने का सिस्टम चालू करो सिर्फ एनर्जी इफिशिएंसी इन्वायरमेंट और सस्टेनेबिलिटी का, यू विल फाइंड यू विल हैव मिलियंस ऑफ फॉलोअर्स. ऑल यू हैव टू डू is to be innovative in your approach, and by this you will find that money is a byproduct, and the kind of passion you will derive or the love what you will get from the society by doing such initiatives would be the actual satisfactory initiative for you and an incentive for you. As an institution, we can have so many multiplier effects in the societies. I just give an example, another one. We are all talking about electric vehicle, nowadays. How many of us are actually running that? I think not even 5%. Believe me or not, just by changing your normal vehicle to electric vehicle, be it two-wheeler, four-wheeler, or even e-cycle, you can contribute to the sustainability to a greater extent. And on top of that, you will be saving, just sir said about 15,000, you will save much more than 15,000 rupees a year by just doing this small initiative. And it will save you money, it will save you time, it will bring more efficiency in the system, and you would be actually the champion for sustainability in the society. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you talked about the importance of awareness and all. As an institution, Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti, we have been organizing a lot of programs with the students, right from schools to colleges. And this is one of the area because Mahatma Gandhi was linked to the whole notion of sustainable systems and sustainable lifestyle. We can have some collaborative action research because Gandhi was a man of action. So we need to have action research at the community level so that students can imbibe not only these ideas but actually experiment and also translate those knowledge that they have gained to the community. That will be the real, that is a real challenge, and that will be a greatest contribution, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So I'd like to add something with Shishir sir and Abhishek just said that we need data. It's very simple. If we compare Delhi, most of the projects, most of you must have visited AeroCity. AeroCity is one of the good examples in terms of energy efficient management. In AeroCity, the hotels are using, if you take baseline data, 100 kilowatt to be used by a hotel, they are running on 30 kilowatt because of that energy management and sustainable energy measures. In water, they are using only 15 to 20%. If you look at the total demand of the AeroCity and the kind of available water with the airport is only 15 to 20%, and still they are able to run it very well. You must go and visit and see the data, site study, only then you will realize how much it can make a difference. If I take an example of solar rooftop, if everybody uses only 5 kilowatt, which requires only 25 to 30 square meter of roof surface, it requires only 2 lakh rupees of initial investment. on an average cost, it will save you 400 units per month generation. It repay back only 2 years time. And similarly, if water recharge or making a lake, just give you an example of Dwarka sub-city. There is a lake made by Delhi government 2 years back. In 2 years, 5.5 to 6 meter of water level rise in Dwarka. That is not my data, this is Central Groundwater Authority data. So this can make difference to the city, and it is making, but only the awareness is required, and if we all make an effort around, even if you make a small pond in our society, our neighborhood, our institution, that will serve similar purpose in terms of quantum and numbers. So that is why I said we need to look back and see what can we contribute rather than what is the government has contributed. Because if we contribute, the government doesn't need to contribute, government only need to manage. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very adding to what our co-panelists mentioned. What we can do, that is more important. So I share a small anecdote with you. John Keats was walking in London on Sunday near the seashore, and that day there was a high tide, and there were thousands of fish lying there. And he saw there was a young boy. What he was doing, he was taking a fish bag and throwing it into the water. So this gentleman, John Keats, he asked this young child, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm throwing fish back into the water." So then he asked, John Keats asked, "What difference would it make?" So what that young child did, he took one fish, threw it back into the water and said, "It would make a difference to this one and to me." So that's more important. What I am contributing. हम ना सोचे हमें क्या मिला है, हम ये सोचे किया क्या है अर्पण. तो हमने क्या कंट्रीब्यूट किया है, दैट्स मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. जैसा कि सर ने इशू उठाया कि बड़ी बड़ी बातें तो कर लेंगे, लेकिन हम अपने ही एरिया में क्या कर सकते हैं. डेटा पॉइंट जनरेट करके अवेयरनेस ला सकते हैं, या छोटे छोटे, सर ने बोला पार्क में, या वी कैन प्लांट सेपलिंग्स एंड जो भी लाइट्स हैं वी कैन स्विच ऑफ द लाइट, घुसे और उसको इग्नोर करके बाहर निकल गए. सो दैट वी कैन डू, दैट वुड बी आवर एफर्ट कि हम घुसे तो उसको लाइट्स को ऑफ करके ही निकले, उसको इग्नोर नहीं किया. ये हम कर सकते हैं, तभी हमारा जो भविष्य है वो सुरक्षित रहेगा. अन्यथा तो आपने देखा मॉर्निंग सेशन में वो स्लाइड में लिखा हुआ था 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड टेम्परेचर राइजिंग एंड मैनी कंट्रीज आर वैनिशिंग, रादर वुड वैनिश from the world map in the times to come, in the decades to come. So if we really want to survive, data point है, जिंदा रहना है तो कुछ करना होगा, तो ये आपको करना है. और time has come. टाइम हैज़ कम, दिस इज़ दी एप टाइम. लहरों को खामोश देखकर ये ना समझना कि समुंदर में रवानी नहीं है. हम जब भी उठेंगे तूफान बनकर उठेंगे, बस उठने की अभी ठानी नहीं है, ठानी नहीं है. तो उठ जाइए, समय आ गया है. अब ऐसा नहीं चलेगा कि नहीं, उठने की ठानी नहीं है. सो वी हैव टू गेट अप नाउ, वी हैव टू बी अवेयर एंड वी हैव टू गेट गोइंग. सो नाउ वी हैव सम क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस.
Yeah, good afternoon to the panelists. So sir, it's an open question, like whosoever wants to answer. Sir, the challenge between a country like India is that on one side we have to fight for climate equity and climate social environment justice, like concerns raised by our PM in COP26, COP27. And other side we are leading with environment sustainability such as International Solar Alliance. So how can we maintain balance between these two approaches? How can we balance this approach? Thank you, sir.
सर भाई ये एक ही तरफ है, सब दोनों तरफ नहीं है. पहले तो ये समझ लेना है, हु इज शेयरिंग ISA? इंडिया. एंड व्हाई आर वी डूइंग दिस? बिकॉज वी ऑलवेज बिलीव्ड इन वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. अपना फंडा ही क्लियर है, पूरे विश्व का भला करेंगे, उसमें अपना तो अपने आप हो जाएगा. What we are talking about in international forums is our strategic position vis-a-vis what is being done or what have been done by the developed nations, so-called elite nations, US and Europe and all, versus what is required at this stage by countries like India and many more developing, including African continent. So the point there is all about that you provide us the technologies which you think are the right technologies for making the development sustainable, and we will not buy it. Rather, it is actually your duty to give us those specific technologies so that we can develop in that fashion. The trade-off is not about making sustainable development or not making it so sustainable. It is all about showing the responsibility what Western world has towards developing the other so-called global south. We call it global south, you know. It is strategic, right? But we as a nation, believe me or not, आप जब बच्चे रहे होंगे और अभी आप 22-23 साल या जितने की भी होंगे, सॉरी, आपने खुद देखा होगा आपका टेम्परेचर बढ़ रहा है, अपने दिल्ली का टेम्परेचर बढ़ रहा है. भाई दुनिया की बात बाद में कर लेंगे, पहले अपना देख लें कि who is actually getting impacted? People like us, all of us, right? So actually it is in our favor to walk the talk. It is in our favor to work towards sustainability, right? Global position अलग है, हमारी actual people, we are talking about, you know, nations getting submerged. भाई millions of people of India, where Indians are living, will be submerged if we are not able to, you know, arrest that 2-degree temperature rise. It is not about other part of the world, it is our world. So let them do their job, let us do our job. And our job is to be more responsible and doing the initiatives which are more sustainable in nature. Thank you.
Any more questions from any one of you? Yeah, please.
सभी से नमस्कार पैनलिस्ट से। पता नहीं मेरा सवाल सर थोड़ा बड़ा हो सकता है, लेकिन ऐसी जिज्ञासा है बैठे बैठे मन में आई, आप लोगों को सुनते हो तो मैं साझा कर रहा हूँ।
जिज्ञासा को अंदर नहीं रखना चाहिए, बाहर
जी हाँ,
निकाल देना
इसलिए
चाहिए।
सवाल सभी से है। सुबह से हम सुन रहे हैं, पहले वेल्थ क्रिएशन की बात आई, फिर दूसरे पैनलिस्ट आए, उन्होंने कहा ऑन व्हाट कॉस्ट। सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग। गांधी जी कहते हैं कि पंक्ति में जो अंतिम व्यक्ति है, जब उसको डेवलपमेंट का लाभ मिल रहा है तब डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, ऐसा मानना चाहिए। सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट मतलब टिके रुके, उसके पास जेब में वो रुकना चाहिए, दिखना चाहिए, उसके तन पर मन पर दिखना चाहिए, तब सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट है। लेकिन सर दूसरी तरफ ना एक विरोधाभास भी है। उसका खाना पीना, उसकी लाइफस्टाइल, वो जब बीमार पड़ता है तो उसके खर्चे, वो सस्टेनेबल में नहीं आ रहा सर। हमारी जो पूरी मेडिकल इंडस्ट्री है वो कहीं ना कहीं उसको तोड़ देती है बाद में। उसका जो डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है ना धीरे धीरे, वो एक स्टेज पर ऐसी जगह पर आ जाता है जब वो सब निचोड़ देता है बाहर, रुक नहीं रहा। हम ग्रीन एनर्जी की बात कर रहे हैं, हम बल्ब्स की बात कर रहे हैं, रिप्लेसमेंट आ गया और 100 वाट की जगह 6 वाट का आ गया, वो सब ठीक है। लेकिन और भी चीज़ें जिनको देखना है सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के लिए, यहाँ पर बिजनेस, एजुकेशन, कम्युनिकेशन तो लिखा है, लेकिन ये चीज़ें नहीं लिखी, लेकिन ये मेंशन होनी चाहिए सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, जो SDGs के 17 में तो आती हैं। ये कैसे टूटेगा सर? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट तब होगा।
देखिए, आपने दो शब्दों का इस्तेमाल किया, एक तो अंत्योदय का और एक तो आपने समावेशी विकास का। और हम लोग जब बात करते हैं अंत्योदय की और समावेशी विकास की, हमारी परेशानी वहीं पे होती थी कि हमारे पास जो विकास की परिभाषा है ना, वो बहुत ही सीमित हो जाती है। हम लोग मानव श्रम, मानव संसाधन, मानव विकास पे जाते हैं, लेकिन इन तीनों के निरंतरता बनी रहे उसके लिए ज़रूरत है बेहतर स्वास्थ्य और बेहतर शिक्षा। ये दोनों कहाँ है उसमें? ये एक समस्या है, ये एक परेशानी है। और मुझे लगता है कि हमारे लिए, हम लोग जब 17 सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल की बात करते हैं, जो कि संयुक्त राष्ट्र का चार्टर है, जो कि हमें 2030 तक पूरा करना है, उसमें अचानक एक चर्चा आई, अभी आपने शायद देखा भी होगा, एक क्लॉक है जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं वर्ल्ड पॉवर्टी क्लॉक। और वर्ल्ड पॉवर्टी क्लॉक ने अचानक पिछले सप्ताह कहा कि हमारे देश में अत्यंत गरीबी में रहने वाले लोगों की आबादी 2% से कम हो गई है। सुन करके तो बड़ी खुशी हुई कि हमारे देश में गरीबी बहुत कम हो गई है, लेकिन उसी के साथ साथ एक रिपोर्ट ये भी आई कि प्रति व्यक्ति अस्पताल का खर्च कितना बढ़ गया है, प्रति व्यक्ति शिक्षा का खर्च कितना बढ़ गया है। क्या हम गरीबी का आकलन सिर्फ इस आधार पर कर रहे हैं कि वो $2.15 की कमाई कर रहा है कि नहीं, या हम इस आकलन पर कर रहे हैं कि क्या हम उसे पर्याप्त स्वास्थ्य और शिक्षा दे पा रहे हैं कि नहीं। मुझे लगता है कि जो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट यानी कि सतत विकास की परिभाषा में शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य के जो भार होना चाहिए वो काफ़ी कम है, और ये एक इसका बहुत बड़ा दोष है। इसको हमें सुधारने की ज़रूरत है। हम लोग पूरे दिन चर्चा करेंगे सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट यानी कि हरित विकास। भाई साहब, हरित विकास तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का एक छोटा सा हिस्सा है। शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य पे हम क्यों नहीं चर्चा करते हैं? हम क्यों नहीं चर्चा करते कि मानव विकास सूचकांक में, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स में हमारा पोजीशन बेहतर हो, ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स में हम सबसे नीचे हो ना कि ऊपर हो। ये यदि अगर हम बातें कर सके तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का जो औचित्य है वो बनता है। नहीं तो ये विकास जो है ना, ये अर्थशास्त्र की परिभाषा में रह जाएगा। और अर्थशास्त्र का एक सबसे बड़ा दोष जानते क्या है? वो ये कहता है इफ अदर थिंग रिमेन्स द सेम। ये जो अदर थिंग रिमेन्स द सेम है ना, क्या हर व्यक्ति हमेशा स्वस्थ रहेगा? क्या उसे कोई बीमारी नहीं होगी? ये ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता है। इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि हमारे लिए सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की परिभाषा बदलने की ज़रूरत है। हम संपत्ति का सृजन, हरित विकास और हम पर्यावरण को बचा करके केवल विकास नहीं कर सकते हैं। शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य को ज़्यादा भार दें, तब जा करके फ़ायदा हो सकता है। अन्यथा ये पूरी परिभाषा, ये पूरी चर्चा बेमानी होगी।
बिल्कुल सही कहा सर ने। स्वास्थ्य और हेल्थ एंड वेलबींग का भी एक गोल है, लेकिन उसके ऊपर हम चर्चा ही नहीं करते। हालांकि कुछ एक विषय है जिसके ऊपर बहुत चर्चा होती है, जैसे जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी, जो 5th UNDP गोल है, उसके ऊपर जब इंटरनेशनल वुमेंस डे होता है उस दिन तो बहुत चर्चा होती है। हर संस्थान में चर्चा की जाती है, उसको ग्लैमराइज करके किया जाता है। लेकिन जो रिपोर्ट निकलती है, यूनाइटेड नेशंस सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट, सो इफ़ वी सी दैट रिपोर्ट, सो सिचुएशन इज़ नॉट वेरी रोजी. Picture is very grim. So we need to look for the facts, data points, and where we are heading. That's more important. So we have to focus on preventive health care rather than curative part, and these hospitals are curing the ailments, not preventing us to fall sick. That's more important. So you had the right question in mind, and you will have to search answers on your own. It's a long journey. Instantly, like instant noodles, you won't get the answers. You will have to do the soul searching for that. हाँ, काम हो रहा है, स्लो हो रहा है, काम हो रहा है, तो काम आपको आगे ले जाना है और करना है। Yes, any more questions?
हाँ जी, गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल द पैनलिस्ट। मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है रिगार्डिंग सिंगल यूज़ प्लास्टिक। गवर्नमेंट ने बैन किया, अभी स्टिल बैन करने के बाद द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन आर नॉट बीइंग देयर। Now what is the concern behind? People do not want to use single-use plastic. It is causing concern to the climate. Everybody is aware. But वो फिर भी objective हमारा नहीं हुआ है because of certain implementation and other things are also being there. Industry भी है, industry बना रही है, लोग use भी कर रहे हैं, but उसको कैसे manage करेंगे, कैसे देखते हैं आप?
देखिए, मेरे हिसाब से सबसे जो ज़रूरी चीज़ है कि लोगों के अंदर जागरूकता। आज देखिए, हम लोग कहते हैं ना, सुबह कपड़े की थैली लेकर के आप जाओ बाजार से सब्जी खरीदने के लिए। आपने कितने लोगों के हाथ में वो कपड़े की थैली देखी हो? नहीं देखते, क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि दुकानदार के पास जाएंगे, वो एक प्लास्टिक की थैली तो हमको पकड़ा ही देगा। चाहे रेहड़ी वाला हो, चाहे वो सफल का हो। सफल वाला भी एक नई चालाकी आ गई, वो कहते हैं आप 1 रुपये दे दो, हम आपको थैली दे देंगे। तो कौन वो इनकन्वीनियंस घर से लेकर के चले? मुझे लगता है कि देखिए, सरकार के ऊपर जो भी आप आलोचना करें, सबसे ज़रूरी बात होती है अर्थशास्त्र जहाँ से शुरू होता है, माइक्रो से। हमारे अंदर वो जागरूकता है कि नहीं है। सिंगल यूज़ हो, ये न्यूट्रॉन का हो, पता नहीं उसमें कई तरह की परिभाषाएं आती है कि आप इतने कम का आप प्लास्टिक लेकर के चले। मुझे लगता है कि माइक्रोन जो है 10 माइक्रोन से नीचे का है। मुझे लगता है कि इसका जवाब बहुत ही सरल मेरे हिसाब से जो हो सकता है कि हम अपने अंदर वो जागरूकता पैदा करें कि मुझे ये इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है। सरकार के जुर्माने का इंतज़ार क्यों करें? सड़क पे जब आप चल रहे हैं, बाएं की तरफ की जगह पे आप दाईं तरफ चलेंगे तो दुर्घटना को न्योता तो आप ही दे रहे हैं ना। तो वहाँ पे तो जागरूकता अपने अंदर पे चाहिए। सरकार जितनी भी परिभाषा तय कर ले, इसका निदान नहीं हो सकता है। हम जागरूक होंगे, समाज आगे बढ़ेगा। अर्थशास्त्र माइक्रो से मैक्रो पे जाता है, यही चीज़ यहाँ पर भी ज़रूरी है।
using glass bottles instead of these plastic bottles would make a difference finally. And you know, many places, yeah, we see in ministries they have stopped using plastic bottles. First session में थी हाँ yeah yeah
हम यहाँ पे सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की बात कैसे करेंगे जब हम यूज का उल्लंघन
चलिए कोशिश को जारी रखिएगा. That's more important. So yes, audience, any questions?
Good evening, panelists. I have a very simple question. The sir was saying that the e-mobility was a basic question on the e-mobility, but the cost of car is too high. Sometimes it's double the cost. So I think whatever kind of subsidy you are providing, of 50,000 rupees or a 1 lakh rupees, do you think it is enough? And if the car replacement, battery replacement cost is 7 lakh or 8 lakh, how we will maintain all these things, or how the concept or a vision of e-mobility will be successful? Thank you, sir.
टू व्हीलर फोर व्हीलर चलेगा सर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल के लिए टाटा नेक्सॉन का अभी प्राइस चेक करिए सर, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल और नॉर्मल व्हीकल, यू विल फाइंड इट एक्चुअली एट पार. टू व्हीलर टाटा वो एक्टिवा का प्राइस चेक करिए सर, 1.25 लाख. कोई भी टू व्हीलर इलेक्ट्रिक लेंगे आप 1 लाख के अंदर मिलेगा सर. ये एक्चुअल डेटा आज का बता रहा हूँ. बट हम इसका इंतजार करें क्यों? इंपॉर्टेंट ये है, अगर हम being the upper strata of society can't think of something of investing maybe 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees extra, and in turn it is giving us so much of added advantage which I just tried to enumerate before. Let's do it. It is not only good for us, it is actually our responsibility and obligation towards the society. I see it personally from that perspective. Governments will do their own bit. Governments will try to incentivize, try to put more infrastructure and everything. But again, I'll say we are the people who can make the change. अभी प्लास्टिक की कोई बात कर रहा था. Why can't we as an institution make it a drive that 5 किलोमीटर के रेडियस में यहाँ पे प्लास्टिक नहीं चलेगा साहब? कैन वी एज स्टूडेंट्स नॉट डू दिस? भाई जो आप बॉटम ऑफ पिरामिड की बात कर रहे हो ना, ये चेंज हमें ही लाना होगा. हम बात कर रहे हैं कि दूसरा कोई करे, भाई ये आज हमारी ज़रूरत है, हमें करना होगा. क्योंकि हमारे पूर्वजों ने जो काम कर लिया, उनको जितना करना, इट इज़ नाउ आवर टाइम to do and do the way which has not been done earlier maybe. Incentive has never been a way to propagate a technology in masses. It is the early drivers which help a technology or even a concept to promote. Governments act as catalyst to do something, but the actual innovation comes from the people. अपना यूपीआई पूरे विश्व में पॉपुलर हो गया. Who innovated in UPI? Did government do this? No. Some private guy who just thought other way, which was not very conventional, and now it is a nation. It is something which India takes pride of. It is we have to do this. Electric vehicle, आपने जो बैटरी का कॉस्ट का बात बोला सर, जस्ट 2 साल में देखेंगे ये जो 7 लाख आप बता रहे हैं वो 2 लाख पहुंच जाएगा पहले तो. Why? Because people amongst us are doing some R&D to reduce that. We as an industry understand that, government understands that, we as a society also understands this problem. People are working round the clock, because the people who are working in EV, they're not sitting idle. They are actually knowing that if they're able to make you convinced that it is actually much less costlier than owning a typical ICE based engine based vehicle, the adoption will happen automatically. ये जो 7 से 2 लाख अभी से बहुत ढेर सारे डिस्कशन हो रहा है इंडस्ट्री में, गवर्नमेंट में, कि कैसे इसको कम करें. अभी जो बैटरीज आ रही हैं दे आर नॉट इन्वायरमेंटली वेरी फ्रेंडली, बहुत ढेर सारे वीडियोस वगैरह भी चलते रहते हैं. बट पीपल आर एक्टिंग टू वर्क टूवर्ड्स मेकिंग इट मच मोर चीपर, मच मोर efficient and much more available also to the last mile. It is happening with, and believe me or not, if we don't do it, it will still happen. All we have to do is to be part of this journey, and we all will get benefited as an individual and as well as society. Thank you.
Sir rightly quoted that we have to think what we can do, and Niti Aayog is responsible for bringing out policies. They have divisions which are doing R&D in creating this e-vehicle more user friendly, and how to lessen the cost of batteries, which is very expensive nowadays. So a lot of efforts are being made, and similarly our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji started Mission Karmyogi IGOT platform, and that is making training online rather than having a physical training. And if you go by the statistics, if you calculate the ROI, then it leaves a lot of footprints which are dangerous for our environment. Cost of commuting, cost of photocopying papers, and not many lights are on during training sessions and training halls. And this IGOT platform has reduced the environmental damage to a large extent by creating hundreds and lakhs and hours of learning online. There are around 27 or 29 lakhs government officials registered on this platform, undergoing trainings day in and day out. Just in time learning is happening, and they are undergoing training on any topic under the sun on this platform. So that's how a lot of policy initiatives are being taken at the level of center, state, and at the level of government. Our PM himself is very well aware about these dangers, and so he's taking a lot of steps to mitigate the effect of environmental damage. So any more questions, or shall we close? Yeah, okay, yeah, because we are ओके
मैम. वाइब्स काम करती है ना, और में रह करके आंसर मिल जाते हैं. आपने कहा था इसका आंसर ढूंढना पड़ेगा, मैंने सवाल पूछा था और आंसर सर मिला मुझे. सेंसिटिविटी उसका आंसर है, सेंसिटिविटी उसका आंसर है, क्योंकि अभी आप बात कर रहे थे हम लोग जब तक सेंसिटिव नहीं होंगे तब तक उन लोगों के लिए काम भी नहीं करेंगे. एक बात सर ने अभी कही, अभिषेक सर ने, कि जब हम इस लेवल पर होकर के नए के बारे में नहीं सोचेंगे, हम खुद ई व्हीकल नहीं खरीदेंगे, महंगा है तो क्या हुआ. ऊपर वाले लेवल पर सेंसिटिविटी आनी चाहिए, तब तो नीचे वाले लोग समझेंगे. सर एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल आपने यूपीआई के लिए दिया. जब यूपीआई के लिए काम चल रहा था, भीम यूपीआई के लिए, और उसको जो कंसर्न मिनिस्ट्री देख रही थी, जिसकी देख रेख में वो बनाया किसी इंडिविजुअल ने, लेकिन सरकार जब उसकी देख रही थी कैसा बन रहा है, उस समय मैं पीएचडी कर रहा था और मेरा टॉपिक था मीडिया लिटरेसी अमॉन्ग विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड. जो दृष्टिबाधित लोग हैं वो मीडिया लिटरेट कैसे हो सकते हैं, कि इसके लिए मैंने कोर्स वर्क डेवलप किया है. उस समय मैंने वही मिनिस्ट्री से जाकर के ये पता किया था कि भीम यूपीआई जो बना रहे हैं आप, वो विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड के लिए कैसे यूजफुल हो सकता है. तो सर आंसर ये आया था जो बड़ा इनसेंसिटिव था, कि पहले आंख वालों के लिए तो बन जाए. सर ये सीधा सीधा आंसर था उनका. आपने ठीक कहा सर, सेंसिटिविटी ऊपर से आनी चाहिए, तब नीचे उतरती है. और बाद में भीम यूपीआई जब अब विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड लोग यूज़ करना शुरू किया है, जब वो पेमेंट करते हैं तो वो बोलता है. ये सेंसिटिविटी बाद में आई. सर ये मुझे आंसर मिला, इसलिए मैंने सोचा मैं पॉइंट रख दूँ. थैंक यू सर.
ऑलराइट, थैंक यू सो मच. सो I would like to thank all the co-panelists who have taken time out from their busy schedule and thrown light on some of the pertinent aspects, issues, and raised some of the pointers for all of you to think about. And I would like to close with 2 lines of Mirza Ghalib. He said, इंसान घर बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, फिर भी वो खुद को क्यों नहीं बदलता. उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और आईना साफ करता रहा, आईना साफ करता रहा. So I'm sure this panel discussion discussion shedded some of your myths with regard to sustainable development, and it has been a very enriching, enthusing and insightful discussion. So thank you one and all. Thank you Maims for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this panel discussion and to be a part of this conference. Thank you one and all.
Thank you everyone. Rightly said, changing the face can change nothing, but facing the change can change anything. We have to be the change. As we embark on this journey of intellectual exchange and scholarly disclosure, I would like to thank all our panelists, and I would like to call upon the conference team to come up on the stage for a group photograph. I invite all the heads, conveners, co-conveners and the organizing team to come up on the stage for the group photograph.